Hey everyone, Mherex here, bringing you another video. This one is something you all clamored for, demanded, begged for. So here it is. I have with me a certain someone who you may remember from the last time. Slim, how are you today, my friend?
Hey, how you doing?
Not too bad. It's a Monday. I have Monday brain, so I will probably sound less intelligent than normal, which is saying something.
I'm sure I'm sure it's going to go through just fine. We're going to be all right.
So last time we did a call, you kind of had an idea of what to call this. Refresh my memory what this is.
So, I think I initially came up with the idea that we call this Worthless Mondays because this is the at reset today will be the day of the MLC where nobody does anything except for a couple of blitzes and stares at their game waiting for tomorrow's reset because it kicks off an MLC. Um, but I didn't really like worthless Mondays because it doesn't really flow off the tongue. So my proposal now is that we call it meaningless Mondays.
You
Get
you
some
know what's
alliteration in there.
you know what's funny? I was thinking about that like this morning, and I'm like, what if we just called it Meaningless Mondays? So that's hilarious that you had the same thought.
Yeah, okay. So there it is. And it has to be meaningless Mondays. The Monday before MLC reset.
Yeah. So I mean, since there's not a ton going on necessarily in the game today, why don't we kind of talk about the zombie month, like how you felt about it, maybe how you did on getting the zombie cards, or what you particularly like, didn't like, the best part of the month for you, that kind of stuff, just generally how you felt about zombie month. But I guess before we get there, first off, are you generally a zombie enjoyer or are you a zombie hater? Because it does have some polarizing feelings sometimes. Sometimes people like really love zombie month and other people like really hate it.
So I'm I'm I was a zombie enthusiast. Um but I couldn't really tell why, right? Um, the early zombie months, I was free to play. I wasn't getting anything out of zombie month other than the freebies and the breadcrumbs that they were sprinkling out there. And then the month that was zombie Lashley was the chase. And this is the old school chase format where you had to max the MLC monthly contest in order to get the chase card. It was the first MLC I maxed. Was Zombie Lashley. So I was like, oh, Zombie Month is great. I got Zombie
Sure.
Dom and now I got Zombie Lashley. No, not Zombie Dom. That was the next one. But I got Zombie Lashley, and at the time, I think 5-star gold was the
Mm-hmm.
top of the meta. And he crushed in 5-star gold.
Yeah, he was
And then
great.
the next Zombie, yeah, like I rode Zombie Lashley for a long time until became my worst top of my roster showboat. And then I was like, man, I wish I could use somebody other than Zombie Bob. Um, and then like the next zombie month was Dom, who is amazing. He's still, for my money, I think he's still the best free to play card that has ever been released in the game. As a free to play month long MLC card, especially compared to the meta that he was released in.
He was a
Um,
lot of people's best tech for a very long time, actually.
Yeah, he was amazing, and he still hits.
Yeah.
His move flow is obviously from a meta of yesteryear, but it still does damage. And most of the stuff that you need to make him do damage, you probably already have just through playing the game for a while. So that's all cool. And then I ended up getting Zombie Ray that month, which was a great month. And then it was the Cody Rhodes Zombie month, which was fantastic. And I still think that was the last good zombie month. The last zombie month we had good zombies, but the contest itself, I remember feeling really meh about. And this zombie month, kind of the same way. I think in general the zombies are worse than what they were last year within their relationship to the meta. and the contests themselves have been kind of meh, except for like the kickoff contest. The kickoff contest was great, or at least I thought the kickoff contest was great.
Yeah, so I would say I'm a zombie enjoyer, kind of always have been. You know, zombies tend to, especially like uh as the farther back you go, they were kind of tended to be like meta definers or like crazy coaching abilities. But you had like, Zombie Austin with the stun loops forever. Zombie Page was basically a copy of that. There's just been a lot of you had the training ability that works on like traps, countdowns, all that. Zombies was the first place that was introduced. Interesting mechanics have often been introduced with zombies, whether it's like, you know, have your health below a certain threshold and then you do extra damage, or, just a bunch, a lot of different cool things with zombies, a lot of years. So, um, for me, I would say this year, I actually am really big on Zombie Penta. I think he is probably at this point still very underrated, but his potential health pool while still being able to do damage is quite high. He has a hot tag ability, and in particular, the zombie links, whether it's the MP up link you want to use or the MP down link you want to use, are going to be very versatile. In particular, I love him in Showdown. Now, I would argue that generally, if somebody is really good in Showdown, they're probably going to be good other places, or at least good enough to feud with. And having a good feuder, not really hard to do. We have a ton of high damage people that can win on turn one in the game now, right? Like, there's no shortage. There's probably like well over 100 cards that can win on turn one with no risk, I would bet. So I don't feel like getting feud cards is difficult, but getting like really strong showdown cards can be difficult. And I would argue that since showdown is like limited energy or limited attacks, you have less room for error, right? You can't really afford a mistake and stuff, and it's really hard to actually find anything that's kind of a good defense. So I kind of put Penta in a special sort of category because of the links, because of his ability to have a ton of health and still hit very hard. And then I really like Zombie Bliss this year a lot. Beyond that, Seamus is really cool for what he is, right? Like, I think he's great. But I'm not, maybe it's just me, but personally, I'm not really impressed. Like, I will never use Naomi or Jacob, unless, um, I need to, right? Um, and so from like Mherex's perspective, I ended up getting all the zombies, probably no surprise there. But I really only care about two of them, Penta and um, Bliss. But I do actually plan on using Seamus because he cracks me up. I like the Seamus card, so there's that. Um,
So Seamus is going to be one of those. He will enter the discussion of best ever free to play cards released, or MLC free to play cards, or
sure,
MLC freebies, or how, we need to come up with like a community definition for the month long free card
right.
that we can all use. But you know what I'm talking about. Like
I do.
here's a new month, here's a new card. Uh, Zombie Seamus is going to enter the conversation of best cards of that particular tier, right? Of the MLC freebie tier, just because his sub is so stinking strong.
It really is. It's crazy.
There's nothing about him that I think is particularly revolutionary or game breaking or anything like that. He's not going to be meta defining like Zombie Dom was. But the fact that he's got the strongest submission move in the game, like in the
Right.
game period,
Yep.
in the game,
Yep.
is insane to me.
Yeah.
So he's going to enter the conversation just because of that. Zombie Penta is one that I just got on my personal account. So something that I'm trying to do to keep myself from getting, what's a good way of putting this? I have access to a CC account, and I'm trying to stay as far away from it as possible.
I do. I do the same. besides previews, like I'm the same. Like I feel much more comfortable on my own account. I feel like it gives me way more reality based stuff, so I get it completely.
With in that, and it's almost like you've heard the quote, necessity is the mother of invention, right?
Yeah, yeah.
When I'm on my account, which is significantly hindered compared to the CC account, I have to think a little bit harder. And usually when I think a little bit harder, I think a little bit better. So that's why I prefer using my account. I actually have to, work within the constraints of what is provided for me rather than just, oh, I'll just go and cherry pick all the great stuff because I have it in front of me. Um, so I haven't really dove into Zombie Penta yet. Um, I don't have Naomi or Bliss, and I just got Zombie Jacob. Zombie Jacob, the first thing I did was threw triple green on him so I could
Hmm.
run some tours and victory tours and stuff. And the first thought I had was, okay, so this is Mercy with the new Titan move
Yep.
put
Exactly.
in there.
Agreed.
Like there's almost no difference.
Correct.
I'm sure if I went and looked at how many multiplied gems were made from Zombie Jacob versus how many multiplied gems were made, not how many multiplied gems, but like the strength differences and how many total green gems you break. You know what I'm saying? Um, it's probably equivalent, except for Zombie Jacob has that click one button do. I think at 5-star gold it does 20 million damage with one button click, which is insane.
Yep.
Um,
You know what's really funny? When I was doing my preview, I actually said that if you try and two click on the double green with Jacob like you can with Mercy, they're basically the same card, except Jacob does twice the amount of multiplies at half the strength. So that's hilarious. You said the same thing.
yeah, I haven't watched any preview videos of Zombie Jacob yet. I like to go in with a fresh when I sit down to do my preview, and I haven't done it for Zombie Jacob yet. I won't watch anybody else's stuff, so I come in fresh. But yeah, that was my immediate thought was like, oh, it's Mercy again,
Yep.
not Mercy. Cool, I guess.
Yep.
Um, the one thing that I will say this is that Zombie Month has done, and I've been kicking around doing a video about it actually, is power creep. This is what power creep looks like, specifically with Zombie Alexa and a little bit of Zombie Jacob, a little bit of Zombie Penta, and even a little bit of Seamus with his sub. But you're seeing what power creep looks like in real time. And even in my Zombie Alexa preview video, I was like, guys, if you're watching this, this is what power creep looks like. You're pressing one button that is 1 MP and you're doing a million damage and painting the board with a particular gem
Yep.
color. That's power creep. Um, there was something else that she did where it was like, oh, it's her Titan move where it's
Yeah.
5 MP. You press a button, it's like 45 million health. And by the way, you're turning the board silence. Like,
Yeah.
oh my
Hers.
goodness, that's a lot of stuff with very minimal MP. It's not even like a 12, 13 MP move. I think it's like 5.
It is 5. Yep.
Um, and does a lot of stuff and does a lot of damage, and it is not difficult to do whatsoever. Um, so I think that's actually what I'm going to remember most about this zombie month is power creep.
Yeah, so for me, also from the free to play perspective, this is the first month I've got the A tier. I got Bonebreaker, who's insanely disappointing. But on the plus side, the event was so strong, my free to play was able to get the Armory contest all the way to the gold Zombie Black. And Zombie Black is definitely going to be the best trickster on my roster. I love that rework. So like he's hype 3. I got 2 hype naturally through the month for him, and then I did the thing with the wild card to take him to 3 because he's easily my best trick. And then I actually will get Penta, which is shocking. I think because they sent out the 300 shards. I'm waiting for the showdown to see if I get enough shards there, so I don't need to use the prize wall currency from the weekend. But the free to play will also get Zombie Penta, and for him, I've pulled 155 hype naturally throughout the month for Zombie Penta. So I don't really I mean, this zombie month will completely change the shape of the free to play, right? Like those are huge, impactful um cards. And then Seamus, as I get him up there, his sub is just silly and on a free to play account and much easier to run. You don't need a strap and stuff like that. So I and then like I do think the grant campaign was awesome. Like that gave it the month a really good, to me, that I agree with you. The kickoff part was really good, a chance to get like Punk in LA for a lot of people, and other zombies like my free to play got Zombie Bailey, who is huge for it. So I feel like the kickoff, as you said, and then the grant campaign were particularly great this month, as well as those 300 bonus penta shards that went out for the whatever mistake there, not mistake, or I think it was an issue with like spending or something, if I recall correctly. Didn't we get zombie penta and regular penta shards? So my free to play has both penta and will likely get zombie penta. So from that aspect, I think it was really great free to play month, right? At least in my estimation for my free to play. I feel like it's made a big difference, and those were kind of the things that in particular really stuck out with the month. There's a lot of other stuff like Titan has had a lot of growing pains to me. Um, and I don't know that I super love where I see it headed, but the bones are there for a really great mode with a lot of really cool ideas. So if they build on it and expand on it, I think it's pretty potentially exciting, but I currently am not thrilled about where I see or where it seems like it's heading with that. So I don't know. All in all, I think it was a great month for my free to play. As far as like Mherex, my main account is concerned, it's pretty cool. But like I don't know that it really felt like my favorite MLC ever or anything like that kind of thing for him. I didn't I don't know. I feel like not having much of the older stuff, right? So no older gears at all of the zombies, kind of disappointing. And then just this weekend, prize wall was the only moment for the older moments. I feel like that was kind of disappointing in a zombie month that there was none of the older stuff really reran. So I think that was a big miss for that. So I mean, I think it's a solid month simply because of the kickoff and then because of the grant campaign camping thing. But other than that, if it wasn't for those two things, I would probably rate it a very poor um, MLC for me, just because I feel like it wasn't themed maybe as well as it could be. I don't know. In the past, we had like, I don't know if you remember those tours where we had like the zombie tours where you'd get all the trick or treat bags and then could pull cards from them and stuff like that. And they did a little bit of that this year on this last weekend where it was house number one and stuff, but it wasn't really a big deal, where you get the pumpkins and open the pumpkins. I don't know if you remember that. It just didn't feel as special as some years to me.
No, I agree, and maybe that's what makes a great MLC, right? Is kind of those little specialty things that do happen, like the pumpkins that turn into rewards, and there's some RNG there, and et cetera, et cetera. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's what makes a good MLC is contests that are kind of designed in that way. But now that you started talking, kind of in the free to play range, my account did get better this month, especially from zombie hype. So like I think I'm hype level 2 with Braun. I think I'm hype level 2, maybe 3 with Penta. I'm hype level 3 with Seamus. So maybe all of the, and then I got a ton of cards that I didn't previously have, but they were all older and
Mm-hmm.
stuff that I missed out when I was free to play. So maybe maybe it's not that bad. It's just not anything that is gaudy, so to speak.
Yeah,
Um,
I feel like nothing really like stood out and screamed like zombie at me. I mean, some stuff is really cool, like they redo the ring, but they've done that for years. But it didn't feel like, I don't know. I don't. I'm struggling maybe to find it, but it didn't really feel as zombie-y as it could be.
yeah, no, absolutely. Although I do love that they've turned grant camping into a thing.
Yeah.
I it, it so now the game has its own self-referential lore, and I think that's hilarious. You know, like uh, so like in Civilization, right? Gandhi is always the most aggressive world leader because in the first Civilization there was um, a memory error with Gandhi as a world leader. His aggression was supposed to be set to like 0 or something because Gandhi is historically notably a pacifist. But in Civilization 1, if you did something like put it to very hard mode or something like that, it clicked through in memory. And instead of his aggression being like a 1 or a 0 or whatever the lowest one it went, there was a memory error and it clicked over to like 256. So maximum aggression. And for every other civilization since then, if you play on very hard or whatever, Gandhi is going to come for you and he is going to wipe your civilization off of the map because of that one error from the very first game. So it's self-referential lore and it's hilarious. The fact that Champions now has that just kind of, I don't know, it scratches my brain the right way. It's like, okay, guys, it at least somebody out there is paying attention and like, hey, remember this one time where we screwed up and it was like absolutely hilarious, and everybody was over the moon about it. Maybe we should reference that again. And I don't think I'm out of line by saying that this could be a cool thing to do every zombie month. You know, every week of Halloween, make a loot, make it. What did they do this year? Basically, everybody who had a special character or a costume.
Yeah.
So I saw like a bunch of Motu, a bunch of mutant
Yep.
stuff like that. Anybody who's in costume, here's your loot for it. You, I, I'm not even sure if they're allowed to do this legally, but even if they skew the odds lower so that you're just going to get more common and uncommon stuff, the joy of pulling a mega that was given to you by free is never really going to go away. Plus, shards are shards, right? Everybody needs them, everybody loves them.
Y-
Um, Having extra shards is fantastic. So I do actually really like that they are leaning into that, and hope that they continue to lean into that.
Yeah, I feel like that was from my aspect, the fact that they were willing to make fun of themselves is very much appreciated. It cracked me up. I got multiple DMs saying this is great, right? Like, so I love that they did that. That was super cool. And I mean, I think when I say too, like, I'm trying to put a finger on it, right? Because when I say it could have been more zombie-y, I just mean like I don't know, like it's maybe sounds stupid, but like all of the little pumpkin trick or treat tours where everyone was like a surprise, right? Like, and there was a bunch of them all month long. And it was like every week you'd look forward to the pumpkin tour one. If I'm remembering this right, that's how my brain is remembering it. Whether that's accurate or not, I don't know. But like that's the kind of stuff that I tend to like really like in a month, even if it's not necessarily like I got something great from it, but it was that little thing to look forward to, that had that Halloween vibe to it. Like that could be really cool when you think about like say Christmas, for example. Although I don't know how much of American Christmas traditions are like potentially religious or that kind of thing, necessarily, but like I don't know, like do you ever do the thing with like the advent calendar where there's like little surprises in the advent calendar? We could have like advent tour where every like tour is a little surprise you open on each day of the advent calendar or something lame like that. Or if you wanted to work in like what Hanukkah's like 12 days, right? Where you could do something like
Mm-hmm.
that or whatever. I don't know enough about what's just American culture versus how much would be maybe potentially cause issues elsewhere, but I feel like something like that would be really cool or fun, you know. Also kind of what what you said about the essentially the grant camping is champion's own pop culture reference, right? Like I wonder if there are other things, since there's
Mm-hmm.
plenty of them, that they could build on for to like reference champions pop culture stuff, because that's pretty fun. I mean, like, there's been plenty of like, I mean, how many people know, like, a lot of people know about the time travel bug, which was, for me, one of the darkest periods in Champions. I was always mad and angry and annoyed with it. But it would be cool if they did some kind of like semi like Back to the Future whatever reference kind of thing, making fun of that. It wouldn't have to be Back to the Future, but you know what I mean. Like it could just as easily be Quantum Leap or anything else. But just being completely stupid. But
Wait,
go ahead.
so when you say the time travel bug, are you talking about the one where you could mess with the in-game clock and skip certain sections of the game? Is that what you were talking about?
Yeah, that was a known thing for a while. People were using it in feud. So when you'd hit your finisher, if it or whatever move won, it skipped all of the animations, so it knocked like 15, 20 seconds whatever off of people's feud battles. Um and it was some kind of some bullcrap, and it was there for way too long, and I ranted about it everywhere from official streams. I would rant about it. I complained, like yelled, screamed, and felt like nothing was getting done. And then like shortly after it was fixed, they didn't, it's not their job to like update me or that kind of stuff. But I just felt like it wasn't being at that time, wasn't being addressed properly or with enough concern, and just more. I think it was that it was, but no one bothered to let me know. But that was the closest I've came to actually stepping away from the game during that period. But yeah, you can actually still a little Easter egg. People do it all the time. It's not worth it to me. You can still time travel by setting your phone time forward and then seeing an event before it's live. You got to wait till like 2 hours before the event goes live, and you can still see some of the stuff that's going to be live. Like you can't see everything, but at least this is what people tell me. I don't, like I said, I'm too lazy to bother because I don't care. It just gets there when it gets there. But like people be like, yep, that's how sometimes you see the Discord, people like an hour or two before the event will be like, this tour doesn't have XYZ. And you're like, how the heck could you know that? Are you reading code or whatever? Nah, they just time traveled to look at the tour in the game.
Right on. That's funny. Actually, so time traveling, the first WWE stream that I ever saw was, and I don't quite remember who it was. I don't quite remember who it was, um, but they did it live on stream. They evidently had enough, and they're like, you know what? Fine, we'll just show everybody how to do it. Um, and the stream didn't make it to completion. Somebody got mad about it. Um, and yeah, that was like my first interaction with the way out there WWE community. I hadn't watched a stream or I haven't watched at least a stream about champions since that one kind of thing happened. I was like, oh, this is neat. Seems a little cheaty, but neat. Um, yeah, they could absolutely uh, make a Back to the Future event though. Oh, what's the date? Hold on, what's the date? Hold on.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Where's the Google?
To the Google machine.
Isn't it like in May? November 5th.
Oh wow, we are
Yeah,
almost
November.
there. Champ says 2 days to
There
make
you
it
go.
happen,
Well, I hope they're listening.
right?
Um, yeah, so they could do the time travel thing. That was a little bit. What else was like really big that like blew up?
So there was
People were.
there was like I forget what they call it. Didn't they call it like Farmageddon or something like that? That was before I played a lot, like way back in the day. There's something that people reference as Farmageddon, if I understand correctly, and this is before my time or right at the start of my time when I wasn't involved with anything. But like a bunch of tours got reset and people were able to refarm them all over again, or something like that. It's often referred to as Farmageddon. I think there was another one that I've heard referenced that I don't know if it was like a Tapjoy thing or a cache thing, but people got a bunch of stuff from that
Mm-hmm.
at one time. I don't remember what that was. I think that was before my
That was
time
a
too.
portal offer. I remember a cash thing with a portal offer where you could buy insane amounts of in-game cash for relatively little money. I want to say like $10 got you something like 20,000 in-game cash or 200,000 in-game cash. I think it was $10 got you 20,000 because one of my faction mates at the time dropped 100 on it and was like, "Yeah, I'm going to be set for in-game cash forever." And I think this is back when in-game cash meant a little bit more than just refreshing a shop.
Yeah, yeah.
So there was that one. They could do the final boss rock. They could reference that one when they gave it to everybody. Oh, actually, even better. No. Forget Final Boss Rock because that has a lot of negative memories associated with it. The first time they did that, when everybody got Cora Jade and Trick Liv and Striker Bradshaw and who else? Farouk. Who else were people getting? It was when I can't remember exactly the specifics of it, but it was like they were giving away crates, but the crates were like milestones and they were big milestones and they had upgraded chances of pulling an actual card. And I think Trick Liv was only maybe a couple months old at the time. Striker Bradshaw wasn't he hadn't been around for too awful long either, maybe 6 months, but they put it as a tour reward. So like if you had the CSS, you got the bonus reward and those little boxes were in there. So people were getting upwards of like 40 of these boxes that were supposed to be,
Oh yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
I remember
you were
this.
supposed to only get
Wasn't
maybe
that
three of them a month.
wasn't that like Bulldog's MLC? There was something like that too, where like if you did a tour, you got like Bulldog or something like on day one of the MLC or something. There was something with Bulldog too that was just like that, where something was turned like way up or something. Does that ring a bell to you too during Bulldog? People in the comments will definitely let us know. There was a Bulldog thing too that was very similar to that too.
See, the thing that Bulldog brings to mind is the is one of my favorite. So I like I like a little bit of chaos. So controversy will always at least capture my attention. But the only thing that springs to mind with Bulldog is Showboat Bulldog, where you had to grind Showdown, and if you grinded enough Showdown, you could get Bulldog for free, and
Uh huh.
it erupted in the "it's not free if you have to play for 3 hours." Well, all you got to do is play for 3 hours, and you get it for free. That sounds like free to me. Nuh-uh, time is money, and it's like that was my favorite argument. Almost of all time with champions is what is considered free in the game. How free is free. That's the
So
only thing I remember about Showboat Bulldog.
So the reason they had that showdown, if I'm not mistaken, on day one of the MLC, one of the tours had bag that you could either get ton of MLC points or ton of something, and people ended up with like Bulldog on day like 1 or 2 or something. And I think if I'm I think they rolled it back, or if they didn't roll it back, they said we're gonna give everyone a chance to get Bulldog, and it was in this showdown you're talking about. If I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Somebody that remembers better will definitely let me know in the comments, but it was something along those lines. Yeah. So that was another big deal. And there've been multiple times where they've added extra zeros to items, like that would be funny if they did some kind of callback to just like the dreaded extra zero or the extra zeros and stuff in front of stuff when it's supposed to be like I think there was one event, if I'm not mistaken, there was an event. Who was it? It was for which character? It was for a lady character. I can't remember which one. And like factions that were on right away got the event maxed in like 30 minutes to 45 minutes. And then everyone else didn't. I'm trying to think of what this was for. Oh my gosh, that was another one that was just a huge snafu, right? Like way back in the day. I'm pretty sure I was in TNM when that happened. So this would be like 3 or 4 years ago, probably at least. Yeah, and factions that were online like basically maxed the faction event, and it was for a lady card. I forget which one. It was a big deal. I don't know if you remember that one, maybe not.
That was not the only lady one that I know of is Zombie Page.
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody got Zombie Page for free because they gave Zombie Rock to everybody. I
Yeah,
think is what it was.
you had to play Showdown as well, grind a bunch of Showdown to get Zombie Page. Which the hilarious thing was is Page
Okay.
was way better than Rock anyway. That's the really funny part.
Yeah, just I don't understand like Zombie Austin has this, reputation of being the old school top of the card, right? Like, oh my goodness, you had to build counter cards just to stop Zombie Austin.
Yeah.
And Zombie Page was sitting right there who runs the exact same way. And I always kind of chalked it up to the game has done a really great job at trying to equalize both the men's and the ladies side of the roster, and it's still not quite there yet. The game is still heavily men's focused for the roster, but it used to be a lot worse to the point where there was a version of Zombie Austin that was in the game, and nobody really there was not a lot of hullabaloo about it. But Zombie Austin was the creme de la creme. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, I think there is a lot of like little goofy things that they could bring back. Going back to my love of watching discourse happen. Another one of my favorite things in Champions history is who's better, Cora. This came from that snafu. Who's better, Cora or Liv? And at the time, I was Team Cora. I'm no longer Team Cora, but like a reference to that could be cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Although I'm not sure if anybody would remember it quite as well as like Grant Camping.
Right, for sure. You know what's it that what you just said is absolutely true. There's always been a rather large disparity between male and female events, and it's still well, it's gotten better. Um, it still is pretty large. You know what I think would be great, and I'd take your thoughts on this. I have one regular feud every month and then one flash feud every month. Scopely basically sets up 5 feuds, right? As far as like line bonuses, all that stuff. What if instead of one regular and one flash feud, we just had two feuds, and both of them were a 12-hour feud on starting Friday into Saturday, and a 12-hour feud Saturday into Sunday, and one was male and one was female, and they ran that twice instead of like a flash feud format. One, I feel like Flash Feud format hurts people in different countries. Two, I feel like with a 12-hour feud window, people with jobs on the weekend and stuff or busy stuff could fit it into their schedule way better. You know what I mean? And you wouldn't have to play all of the feuds. You still play the same amount. But I feel like it'd be a win for Scopely in the sense that they would have to figure out the stuff for one less feud, right? Because you're doing 4 total instead of 5. And two, it would really open up using your ladies roster way more, and even out that part. I'm curious what you would think about that solution. I feel like it helps a lot of things, not just the male to female ratio, but also other countries and time zones and stuff.
Anything they can do to fix flash feuds is welcome on my end. I did a whole video about this of how inconsequential I feel that feuds are nowadays.
I think they're worthless too. Go ahead.
They are yeah, I mean they're the preeminent event, in WWE Champions. It's feud weekend. Take your roster against the rest of the community, get into the ring and prove who's the best. You use the same 6 cards and you look for a couple of trap setups and you just run through and you try to do it as fast as possible. It's boring and the rewards you get are terrible.
Yep.
Flash feuds are the worst.
Yep.
They're the absolute worst at this. And they're the overall absolute worst. In my opinion, the absolute worst event during any month is going to be Flash feuds. So yeah, absolutely. At the very least, they could make one feud, the 20-hour feud, and make it for men's only, and then do another 20-hour feud for ladies only.
Yeah.
And run it that way. A couple of 18-hour feuds. The 18-hour feud they did a couple months ago was easily my favorite feud event they've done in a long time. Just because I do work on Saturdays, right? Like the second Flash feud is almost impossible for me to do anything more than max out the faction points. and then that's it. I'm done. I'm not gaining any war score. If it has the golden baguette reward at the end for grinding out war score, I can't do it on Flash Feud 2. And I'm not alone. I'm only,
Oh
I'm
yeah.
East Coast time. So, West Coasters probably still have the same issue. And it's worse because the feud starts when they're asleep.
Hmm.
Flash, yeah, absolutely. Change feuds, change feuds, and yeah, mix it up. Put the ladies roster in there. The ladies roster pound for pound is better than the men's roster, and I don't think it's even close. Um, I think if people looked at the top, I don't know, 3 or 4 lines of their roster, it's going to be full of nothing but hitters for the ladies. Whereas if you go to the men's side of your roster and look at the top 4 lines, you've got trainers and you've got stuff that was fuses, you got stuff that you don't use or stuff that you brought up for one specific reason. Like, for instance, looking at the top 4 of mine, I've got my number 1 card is Tech Gunther. I
So
don't
is
even know
mine on
why
my
he's
free to play that I have open right now. That's hilarious. Go ahead.
yeah, it's Tech Gunther. I my roster is a click shy of 14 million, so I'm not the biggest roster in the world by any means, but not the smallest. And Tech Gunther is number 1. Really? Going through that, I also have Trick JD Priest, trainer, that I think I star filled later on, and that's why his talent got all the way up there. Striker Bret Hart, veteran Cena. Um, you know, that kind of rounds out my weird ones for the top 4 lines. Whereas if I go to my ladies, um, I don't have any filler. The closest thing that I can find that is filler would be maybe Showboat Charlotte or Striker Roxanne.
Sure.
Actively the worst card in my top 4 rows. So my top 16 ladies is Tech Asuka, who's not terrible. She's not great, but she's not terrible. But that's the worst one of my top 16. Where on the men's side, I've got a bunch of bad stuff. So with the ladies, it's just a more concentrated pool of fighting power. And I would love to have an opportunity to use it more than one-off tours, one-off events, half a flash feud,
Right.
whatever.
Yeah. There's some like really, I mean, just incredible. So Alexa Bliss A tier, trickster Alexa with the right stuff, I still think is
Mm-hmm.
arguably the best lady trickster in the game. I prefer way over Naomi, for example, and it's not even close. Showboat Becky, ridiculously good A tier with all kinds of possible extras, as well. Like just so good, right? There's some really fun ladies to use. Zombie Bailey was really great. And then you just talk about like somebody like freaking Rhea Ripley and Julia, how good they are with their gears and stuff. Not just taking away this year's zombies like Zombie Bliss and stuff too. There's just a ton of really strong ladies that are quite fun to use. I mean, Indy hits ridiculously hard. Liv still can hit really hard. They have done. They've made some ones that are really fun to use for sure, and it's a shame when you can't use them very much, and it kind of feels a lot of times like it's just a waste comparatively. Like, I know I talk to one of my buddies all the time about the prize. Well, he's like, man, I want this plate for this lady, but I'm only going to use her like once all month during Flash Feud, so it feels like a waste. Or if I could get this plate for a guy, I'm going to use 3 times more, you know? So yeah, I think that disparity isn't good for the game. And I completely agree with you. I think Flash Feud by far worse prize walls, worse rewards for your time, right? And then if they don't have the golden baguette thing, then it's even worse. And if they do have the golden baguette thing or
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is at the end, there's a ton of people that just can't do it because of the way the times work. So yeah, I think Flash Feud needs to go completely. It's not very fair to a global player base or people working. There's too short of a window to make those feuds work, you know?
Yeah, and that's really what it is. Like, going again back to Flash Feud number 2 is in. I think it's the most inconvenient time for
Everybody just about.
most Americans It's pretty inconvenient from what I remember for Europeans. I'm sure the Asian continents are probably pretty fine because it's 12 hours flipped. So it starts at, no, it starts at 11. So it's at the tail end of night for them. Ugh.
Yep.
No, it's bad for everybody. It's just bad for everybody. And it's the shortest one. Like
Right.
it's 4 hours or 5 hours or whatever compared to like 7 or 8 for some of the other ones. It's just, I don't know. It's just,
It's weird too that it's arbitrarily an
man.
hour shorter too. Why? Like why? You
Yeah,
know?
what's the point of it?
Yeah. Like oh, we're gonna give them an hour break in this random 20 hours of feud over these 3-day windows, but let's just randomly shorten this one an hour.
Yeah. Shorten that one, but the contest lasts an entire day longer for everybody. I hate flash feuds.
Same.
I hate them. I think I'm over it. I can't ever really generate the drive and the will to sit down and grind flash feuds because I
It's
have to
so
do it
boring.
4 separate
Yeah.
times.
The other thing
Let me
too,
get it out of my system.
it's 4 sets of CSS too, which I hate doing CSS. Um, and then like when I see Flash Feud, it makes me want to quit the free to play every single time because I don't want to have to do 2 accounts. Like literally, Flash Feud weekend
Yeah.
is the weekend I dread every single month, and I'm like, this is probably the last month I'm gonna even bother with the free to play because of Flash Feud. I hate it. I dread it.
And you would think that would be different, right? You would think that for the free to play, Showdown would be the absolute worst event or boss battle.
Not even close.
Just be, yeah. But you would think, just
Yeah,
listening to community and listening to you and other stuff like that, oh my God, Showdown is nothing but, max 6-star gold for hype, everything. And an account just starting out is going to have a hard time dealing with that. But in practice, it's the flagship event for the game. That's the worst one. And maybe that's what gets me the most is that feud is supposed to be the end all be all in this game. And they've managed to drive half of it into the
ground.
absolute depths
Yep.
where people don't even want to play it anymore.
You know what's
Um,
funny? My free to play, right? Is rank 5,333 in the showdown that's going on right now event. And
mhm.
actually in the bonus milestones in the showdown solo contest, I never get into bonus milestones in Flash Feud. Flash Feud is the one I missed this month from getting to the gold chest. It was Flash Feud. And it wasn't even close. I missed it by a fair margin. um Showdown, in particular, like even when I look at Flash Feud too, I can hit my like faction marks. I do well in my faction within the ranking, and Showdown might be a little bit harder, but once you get a few promoters, and this is anyone starting a new account, or if you don't have this, the promoter I would work on first by far is easily Showdown. But I have 3 of them at 150%. And I'm slowly working all 5 to 150%, or all 6 rather. Um, but once you get them to 150%, Showdown is way easier. Also, because the league based stuff, I've actually never lost a Showdown bracket on the free to play, and and it never gets my primary attention either, right? So like, yeah, Showdown is not the problem, at all. Uh, it's so much easier and less time consuming than Flash Feud. Flash Feud is just not achievable on a new account. Like to get the gold chest and stuff, not even remotely achievable.
And you just have a lack of. So it's the war score scoring is so low
Yep.
and the CSS bonus is so high that if you don't have a couple of the CSS, you're cooked,
Yeah, you can't
right?
do
I'm assuming
anything.
that's what
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah, you can't do anything. So
Yeah.
like
I,
I had no extra CSS this weekend except for I did have Bone Breaker. That's why I got a couple bonus milestones, but it was so little it didn't really matter. But yeah, in Flash Feud, most Flash Feuds, last Flash Feud this month, I had one CSS each Flash Feud, and that was the generic zombie CSS. And without that, you can't even get anywhere remotely near anything. It's horrible setup.
so I'm going to take a left turn here real quick because you
Yeah, yeah,
said
go ahead.
something that I thought was interesting. you said the free to play, the first promoters that they're working on is the Showdown Notoriety promoters, right?
Me? Yeah, I think that's by
Do you
far.
remember when
Go ahead.
by far the most useful, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Isn't it funny how promoters have gone from you have to have your feud promoters
Yep.
maxed, and then the second thing you work on is Showdown coin promoters,
Yep.
and then all of the other promoters are useless. And now I'm finding myself I still don't even have all of my feud promoters. I just got Acro Charlotte. Shame on me, I haven't even bothered with what's the one in the Marquee Tour, Taker.
Taker. Yeah. For Powerhouse.
Yeah, I still don't have Taker. I don't mind if I don't have the feud promoters, but I am now currently kicking myself that I don't have a rack of 250% Showdown Notoriety
Yep.
promoters, which were relatively useless a couple years ago. And I'm really upset that I don't have any of my stipulation
Yep.
tour promoters worked up.
So straight up,
Um,
you 100% number one. If you're starting a new account or you're playing now, Showdown first, because there's 50 million Showdown events. It's limited energy, and you can't, without the big Noto promoters, you can't do jack, right? So that's easily the most impactful. Um, the coin ones are basically worthless. They're also paywalled, so it's fine. Which it's not fine they're paywalled, but they did go from being incredibly useful to not. Second most is by far Stip, which was completely worthless, but now Stip gets you a chance for plates and stuff, right? So you kind of gotta work on them if you want to compete in that kind of stuff. So I agree completely with feud being not very worthwhile.
yeah, they just don't add. I don't feel like they add enough war score to really significantly shrink the amount of time investment into the game
Yep.
compared to the benefits you get out of Showdown Notoriety and the stip promoters. There are stip promoter contests that have come out where I have looked at it and been like, okay, I can crack top 500 consistently. I don't have a maxed out promoter. I'm not getting into the top 100. And
No,
it's
that's
not
true. You
because I
won't.
don't have the card. It's not because I don't have the setup. It's not because I don't have the game knowledge, which sometimes I don't have the game knowledge. Very often I don't have the game knowledge. But when I do and I have everything lined up and I'm still staring at, top 500 as my absolute ceiling because I don't have this promoter maxed out, I kick myself and my, maxed tech feud promoter or whatever. And like, I wish I could, I would reset this card a couple levels and get the resources back just
Yep.
to throw it into this other promoter.
Yep.
And I would probably do it without hesitation. I would do it right now. Reset all of my feud promoters to half and dump them into Showdown Notoriety and promoter score
No,
or
agree.
stipulation score bonus.
Agree. I would do Showdown Noto first and Stip second. And that's what I plan on doing on this account, right? Like all of my Showdown Notos to 250, and then Stip will be second, and Feud can happen when it happens. But right now, Feud rewards are so awful, right? And I don't even know why factions. The funny thing is, the faction rewards for most events these days are kind of a joke, right? Like very rarely is the faction
Mm-hmm.
reward great. The exception is the boss battle. Maxing out boss battle at the end gives you the big chest that gives you a chance for the plate, or like 20,000 to like 40,000 medallions. So boss battle being the exception, most faction events, unless it's a spend event, are pretty terrible. And feud is complete joke for a faction event. So it makes zero sense to me that anyone would recruit for factions based on we're the best feuding faction. Come join us in feud for worthless rewards while you throw your life away 20 hours a day, all weekend long, Like I just don't it doesn't make sense to me as a logical human being. Like, I mean, if you like beating your head against the same wall with the same six cards for like 20 hours on end, by all means do that, but that's not my idea of fun. I
So
don't get it.
there's always going to be leaderboard chasers, and I get that.
Yep.
The people who are driven by leaderboards, I completely understand. Almost down to the why. Like I understand why you'd want to see yourself on a leaderboard. It's got to be a great feeling, and some people are just driven to be, as best as they can all the time, and I get that too. But realistically, outside of the leaderboard, I cannot think of a single reason to grind feud out. And I know people who do it. They're like, "Yeah, I gotta max out feud," and I'm always like, "Why? Why are
Right?
you doing this to yourself?"
It doesn't
Well, I
make
gotta get
sense
some
to me.
shards. Do you really have to get them shards? Like,
I mean,
keys
yeah,
exist in the game for a reason, my dude.
right.
Yeah, I don't know.
I go to the make sense milestones in feud,
I,
right? Where if I'm close, like if uh, 10 to 15 brawls away from a milestone, and I'm like, okay, I'll take those rewards for like, you know, if I spread it out over the whole feud, sure. But if I'm not close after the CSS, I'm just like, yeah, I don't care about this milestone. Have it. I don't care about a 150 strap. That's random, you know? He's gone. He disappeared. I will he's talking. I will fill the time with my chitter chatter. We probably went over on time because it goes so fast. And we haven't even talked about other games yet.
whoop,
You're
hang on.
back.
Sorry,
No,
I
no,
had
no problem.
to. I had to bounce real quick and didn't have a chance, but we're good. By the way, Slim Junior says hi.
Oh, what's up, Slim Junior? How you doing, buddy?
So yeah, don't know where we left off exactly, other
We
than
were
the feud
both just
milestones.
ranting
And
about feud and how dumb it was.
yeah, I don't know. I could probably rant about feud. I've done 30 minutes on video. We just did 30 minutes on this video. I could probably go another hour and a half and really pick apart why I hate feud so much. But does anybody really gain anything out of that other than me?
No,
Probably
we feel
not.
good about it. So I mean, really, at the end of the day, that's the best reason to do it.
Yeah, pretty much. Let's
Um,
see. Oh, hey.
go ahead.
I just clicked on something and saw a red dot, and I was like, "Oh, I get to do something." I don't actually get to do anything. I've got the game up in the background.
Me too. It's almost
um,
reset. It's almost reset for
uh,
Meaningless
what are
Monday.
we gonna get at reset, Mherex? What are we gonna
Uh,
get for Meaningless Monday?
I think we're gonna get a blitz, and I think we're gonna get a showdown contest for the
Woo!
last of the Penta shards if anyone needs them.
Let's go! Same
Yeah,
thing that happens the very
every
last day of the
Monday.
MLC forever.
Yeah.
I bet there will be some ways to try to take our money too,
Ooh,
in
ooh.
case we haven't.
I just is so I'm assuming like me you believe the collab to be Tekken.
Yes, I believe it to be, but very important. We don't have any insider information, so this is not a confirmation, but I do believe it to be Tekken.
Yeah, so no inside info, but just looking at the stuff, it is for sure Tekken. I mean like
It's Tekken. It
99.99.
has to
It's
be.
got to be. Yeah, yeah. Right.
If
So
it's not Tekken, it is the greatest troll the game has ever done.
yeah, if it's not Tekken, then their little teaser images are just not worth teasing because they're not even remotely
Mm-hmm.
close. Because those are Tekken peoples and in Bandai Namco. Anyway, I, are you excited? Are you a Tekken guy? Are you excited for Tekken? Oh, also, do we think in a related question, are they? Do we think we're gonna get WWE superstars as Tekken characters, or do you think we're just gonna straight up get Tekken characters?
um, I hope it's Tekken characters. I don't know why I hope it's Tekken characters. It doesn't really make a lot of sense if they're just Tekken characters because they've never really done that before, other than maybe Rocky. And Rocky and WWE have a very tenuous relationship because of Hulk Hogan. Um, right? Like
Yeah, yeah.
in Mr. T, it's there. There's a connection. Um, did
They're
Stallone
also
ever do anything in WWE?
I don't think he did. They're also human though too, right? I mean like, Rocky's a human, right? Whereas
True. Yeah.
yes, so but I feel like I hope it's Tekken and people are gonna I'm gonna get so much hate for this because wrestling is pure. It should only ever be pure. Bruh, have you ever watched wrestling? It's all about gimmicks. That's the most ridiculous thing ever when somebody's like, wrestling's supposed to be pure and none of this weird crossover bullcrap. Is there another thing that crosses over as much as wrestling? I mean, come on. They
Uh,
they dress their wrestlers in gosh dang video game attire for plugs. So piss off.
I mean, you could go all the way back,
Right?
and there's always tie-ins to from wrestling into greater pop culture, right? Like
Yeah.
they have Surfer Sting, who looks like he's late '80s Southern California. Um,
Yeah, I mean,
you know,
along the Sting line, Crow Sting is like the Crow, right?
the Crow. Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. Crow Sting is just the Crow that they decided to like unabashedly rip off.
Right?
Like anybody who so I'm of the age that The Crow was like a influential movie on me. The Crow spawned a generation of goth kids and counterculture kids. And while I wasn't a goth kid, I was certainly counterculture and hung out with a bunch of goth kids. And The Crow was like my version of Pink Floyd's The Wall or Dark Side of the Moon for my dad, right? Like
Sure.
my dad, my dad spent a lot of his college in smoky rooms. We'll put it that way. So he loved Pink Floyd, right? So,
Yeah,
you know, The Crow was like that to my age of kids in the '90s, and then all of a sudden, Sting is The Crow. Like 6 months later, it was pretty timely too.
yeah.
Yeah, so I don't. You're right. The purity aspect of wrestling. Like, what do you mean by purity aspect of wrestling? They had who was it? The Scholar, wasn't it Macho Man's brother who came out and he was like the
Yeah.
Scholar or the Brain? He wasn't the Brain.
What Lenny is it Lenny Poffo?
It,
Poffo?
it, mm,
What the heck was his
I thought
name?
I thought Lenny Poffo was the Macho Man.
Uh
Um,
then it might be different Poffo name, first name. I get it wrong.
it's a Poffo, yeah, but he had
Yeah.
like he had a scroll that he carried around with him, and he bonked people in the head, you know. Or Honky Tonk Man is
Right?
just a wrestler or an Elvis
Elvis.
impersonator.
Yeah.
Uh,
Right?
speaking of El Kabong, like,
Right?
yeah, dude, the dude is just Elvis and
Yeah.
in wrestling, guys. So there's no purity in wrestling ever.
Yeah,
Like,
I'll trigger those people every time. I don't care. Y'all are stupid if you say keep wrestling. Blah blah blah. I'm sorry. I'll just defend everyone here. I'm good. You don't have to
I
agree.
mean, the tail end of the Attitude Era should put a stake in the heart. Would be
Right?
the last of the Halloween references here. The stake in the heart of the wrestling should be pure. You had Snitsky kick a baby, and somebody had intimate relations with a corpse.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, and then you got Mae Young giving birth to Mark Henry's baby and it's a hand. What?
yeah. Or wasn't there something with a funeral and Big Show and Big Boss Man? And
Probably.
like somebody got drug away on a coffin that was in the middle of a funeral service. Like, come on, dude.
Right.
Wrestling
Yeah.
is supposed to be as ridiculous as possible. And when ridiculous is, or when wrestling is its most ridiculous, generally it's the most entertaining. So yeah, throw Tekken into a wrestling game. Who
Why not?
cares?
Yeah.
Throw the actual characters.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping it opens up doors for maybe some other stuff. I mean, you can't tell me you wouldn't want to see Optimus Prime like jackhammer somebody or spear them.
They have the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man in game.
That's true.
Why not Optimus Prime?
Right?
We already have an actual character from outside of wrestling in the game. In
That's true.
the form of Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. I forgot completely about him.
We do.
Yeah, give me the Tekken characters. Give it to me. I the only problem I have with Tekken is the teased characters.
Yeah, those aren't they're not necessarily the biggest Tekken names, really, right?
Well, two of them are. You got Jin Kazama and um, Kazuya Mishima. Both of those guys
Yes.
are protagonists of individual games. Like Kazuya was the protagonist of 1, 2, and 3, if I remember correctly. And 4 is when Jin Kazama became the protagonist. And then 5, they brought a random weird Mishima out from nowhere. And then 6, I think went back to a Mishima being one of the main protagonists of the actual storyline of the game. Who was the protagonist of 5? Was that Lars? Um,
I'm gonna out myself here and say I never played Tekken campaigns. I always just played with my buddy just for the co-op fight against each other mode.
I Tekken story mode, at least up to 5 or 6. I think 5 is the last one I really played. I haven't kept up with it since. But the story mode was so bonkers ridiculous that I would beat the game with everybody just to see what the story was like. Because when you beat the story with Panda Bear, the ending of the game gets really silly. Or if you beat it with Mojuken, which is the wooden
I remember him. Yeah,
um,
yeah, yeah.
clone fighter. He was basically the Shang Tsung of Tekken. You get a really ridiculous ending, but if you beat it with Jin or Kazuya or Heihachi, you get a very serious ending. And I always really liked that. I thought that was Tekken was a game franchise where the story was equal times as serious as it possibly could be and as ridiculous as it possibly could be at the same time, and it wasn't afraid of being ridiculous at the same time of being really, really serious. Um, let's see. Tekken 5, Jin is the main character, so it must be Tekken 6 where I'm thinking of Lars Alexanderson. is the main character's name. Lars Alexanderson, which is as uh, what's the area of the world that I'm thinking of here? It's certainly not Asian like Jin Kazama or
No, it sounds kind of like
Kazuya
Swedish or
Mishima.
Norwegian or something.
Yeah, exactly. And it turns out that this Lars Anderson, I think, is a Mishima. Like, is somehow involved with the family, uh, with the family line of Tekken, but like he's the long lost cousin who grew up in a Nordic state. Nordic, that's what I was looking for. Um, I thought that one was really weird. Like, wait, really? Lars? Okay. Um, I'm trying to look it up now.
Yeah, I mostly used always. I was a big Paul Phoenix guy, and then Jin. Those were the two that I used most of the time.
I I I played a lot of Tekken 4, so Tekken 4 is the one that I know the most about, which is weird because most people hate Tekken 4, but it's just the one that I put the most time into, and so got the best at. And since I was the best at 4, 4 was my favorite.
I mean, that tracks. That makes
But I
sense.
played, yeah, but I played so much that I picked up a lot of characters. And then went back and played 3 and Tekken Tag Tournament, the original. So I put a lot of time into like Brian Fury and Eddie Gordo and Heihachi and Hwarong and Jin, Kazuya, Lee, Lei, Martial Law, Nina, and Paul Phoenix. Like I put a lot of time into all of those characters and Steve Fox. To the point I remember like how different they are and different strings that you could do with them. I stayed away from King because one of my best friends mained King. So we always had a handshake agreement in my friend group. If somebody was an obvious main of somebody else, you didn't pick it up and learn it. So I never learned King in Tekken. I never learned like Link in Smash Brothers because one of our good friends was a Link main, stuff like that. So I don't know anything about Yoshimitsu because another one of our friends was a Yoshimitsu fan and main. Um, how do we start talking about Lars? Oh, right, main character. So Jenna Kazama makes sense as being in the Tekken crossover, but we don't need King and Armor King. I'm
Yeah,
gonna come
yeah.
right out and say it. King is cool. We don't need two of them.
Right.
And I know they're different characters and they look different. One's got armor and the other one's not. And it's, I think King and Armor King is like a video game version of Rey Mysterio and Dom.
Yeah.
I think they're supposed to be related in some sort of
Don't you
way or
think we
something.
should
I think.
at least get one lady in the collab?
I've been screaming that. There's not only is Tekken really open on the lady side of things, but the gear can go hard with a Tekken collab. Like
Yeah.
Armor King should just be a gear for King.
Right. 100%.
Um, and then they have a really interesting thing that they could do, going back again to Tekken 4, is they could put Eddie Gordo in the game. Anybody who's played any early Tekken know how much of a monster Eddie Gordo was, how annoying he was to face. All you had to do was press kick a bunch of times and you'd spin around and do his capoeira stuff, and you'd lose if you didn't know what he was doing. In 4, Christy was introduced, and her teacher and mentor was Eddie Gordo. So you could do something really unique, put Eddie Gordo in the game, and then give Eddie Gordo a gear that turns it into Christy, so you can use it on the lady side of the roster as well.
That would be super cool. And they could do the same thing with Santino and Santina.
They absolutely could. I'm here for it. I'm ready for Santino to be in the game in the first place.
Right? Oh,
yeah, absolutely.
If you could pick your own, if you could pick one crossover to go in champs that you would be most likely to spend what's the word I'm looking for? Not I'm drawing a blank on the word because it's Monday. More than you should. We'll just go with more than you should. What crossover would that be?
Oh man, I have no idea. What crossover? The troll in me wants to say AEW.
Oh my gosh.
But the truth of that is I don't care about AEW enough to really care if there was a crossover. Would it be cool to have John Moxley in the game? Yeah. It would be cool. Would it be cool to have... I don't know. I don't care. AEW is a troll answer. I don't know, man. What would be the one that creates a second mortgage for you?
Man, it's pretty tough, to be honest, but probably I would probably say so Transformers would be one, because I'm not a big cartoon guy. As a kid, I didn't really enjoy most cartoons. Transformers and G.I. Joe were the big ones, but in particular Transformers. So I feel like Transformers would probably do it because, like, I tend to have a lot of nostalgia around that. So Transformers would be one. And then if I went video game world, like, not that it ever could, but like probably some kind of Final Fantasy collab, right? You give me Cloud in the game, Sephiroth, Oron. There's so many different ones. Kefka, right?
You could kind of
go ahead.
You could do what Magic the Gathering did with Final Fantasy and just pick the greatest hits.
Yeah.
And just put them all in there. Like I haven't played Magic the Gathering in, let's call it 25 years. Outside of, like, they've got Arena, which you can play on your phone, and a buddy of mine's still real big into it. So every once in a while he'll hand me a deck and say, hey, let's play a couple rounds. Like, okay, cool. I bought some Final Fantasy Magic the Gathering packs just because it was Final Fantasy. And I pulled the protagonist from Final Fantasy V. Yeah, that was my pull. But Final Fantasy, they could do that, and you're right. There's a laundry list of cards that they could, or characters they could put into the game. Star Wars, actually, I would spend a whole bunch of money on.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I would spend.
You imagine Darth Vader face choking somebody for his finisher?
Mm-hmm.
Heck yeah.
Han shot first, man.
Yeah, he did.
Han Solo pulls out a blaster and takes you out turn one. I would spend some money on Star Wars. That was a very formative universe for me growing up. Um, Star Wars, I'd spend some money on. Street Fighter, I would spend some money on, and I even hesitate bringing that up because I really think that next
Yeah,
year
we
this time we're going to be
probably
talking
will.
about a
Yeah,
Street Fighter collab.
I think so too.
Uh, I had so for the past like month and a half when theory crafting and stuff, I had been talking like, hey, Street Fighter the movie is coming out. Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes are in it. Like we've got to be seeing a Street Fighter crossover. And then when the teaser went up at the beginning of this month on the blog, quote unquote blog, they said that fighters from a new universe are coming. I was like, nah, that's Street Fighter. Lock it down. That's my prediction. It's got to be Street Fighter. We're getting a new movie in August or October. Let's go. And then the teaser picks for this show up, and I'm like, that's not Street Fighter. Where's the Street Fighter crossover? And I'm like, wait, where's the Street Fighter movie? Why have I not seen a single commercial about the Street Fighter movie? And I go and I look it up, and I'm like, oh, it's coming out in October of 2026. Haha, it's not 26 right now.
you know how WWE lately has been like kind of promoting a lot of video games in general, where they have like in particular Drew McIntyre come down to the ring and said video game attire. Do you think
Mm-hmm.
that, I mean, because do you think they have some kind of deal with Namco or Tekken in particular? Do you think like WWE is gonna like be big promoting Tekken like on one of their, because they just dropped a new season. I know I saw that like a new season just came out with like Armor King. Um, and do you think like they're promoting it, and then WWE went to Champs and like, hey, we're promoting these guys anyway. You can get Tekken in there. We got a working relationship, or because Tekken seems really random. Of all the, not that I'm not unhappy
I
with
bet
it. Go ahead.
I I can't imagine the WWE and Tekken actually. That's a good point. I don't think so though. My knee jerk is Scopely and Tekken and Bandai Namco got together.
I mean, that could be
Um,
because Scopely is like, I think, aren't they the largest mobile game company now? It's, if not, they're very close.
according to Wikipedia, which I'm on right now, they're the second rated mobile video game developer in the world and number one in the US by revenue,
Okay.
with Monopoly Go, Pokemon Go, and Pikmin Bloom. Um, and a couple of those they just straight up bought. But Scopely has a ton of money
Right. Didn't they get,
because they were
they got
bought out
purchased
by,
Savvy, right?
yes, Savvy. And Savvy is part of the um, Saudi Arabia's push
Yep.
to diversify their footprint in the world for entertainment, which is why you see, actually, this is why you see WWE in
Yep.
Saudi Arabia. And that's why Saudi Arabia just recently put on a very controversial comedian stand-up festival where it was like 3 days of nothing but stand-up comics.
They own a bunch of
And
sports teams too now. I think pretty sure soccer. They have I mean, they have one of the best bicycle racing teams, the UAE Emirates and stuff. They just have a lot of, they got a lot of irons and a lot of fires for sure.
yeah, and I didn't know this, but they have a significant amount in EA, Take Two Interactive, and Activision Blizzard.
Scopely or
And they
Savvy?
have a 5% stake in Nintendo. Savvy.
Oh
Yeah.
wow. Okay. Well, I mean, I wonder if the stake came with the buyout of Pokemon Go at all.
I don't know.
So you think
I don't
maybe
know at
it's
all. Oh,
more, you think maybe it's more like maybe Namco wants to potentially get more into mobile, and maybe we publish something through like Scopely, and then they have like a initial kind of thing, and so they're like, hey, we could do a crossover with these guys. You think it's maybe something like that is what you're hinting at, sort of thing, maybe?
I I think so, yeah. Because that makes a lot more sense to me than WWE wants to put more eyes on the product by targeting the third most famous fighting game
Right. Yeah,
in
I
the
just
world, right?
it just seems really random, like Tekken. Now, I don't mind, but I'm just saying, like, it seems really random.
So yeah, if I had to guess, it would be so. One of the things I do with my free time, and I feel like I need to preface this rant that I'm about to go on, is I watch a lot of documentaries on YouTube, YouTube documentaries. That's why I love long form content on YouTube. And the majority of that is about video games. Not necessarily just champions, it's more of anything that catches my interest. So I'll watch a lot of Summoning Assault because that's speed running stuff. And I'll watch a lot of Turn Down for Walt, who is that channel is specifically about Smash Brothers Melee, and he's got another channel that's specifically about Smash Brothers Ultimate. The Mintok is a guy who typically does Nintendo games or stuff that got famous on the Nintendo, but he branches out. And he was talking. The reason I bring that up is he was talking about Castlevania for the month of October, Halloween, Castlevania, vampires, all of that.
Sure.
And on he did like 4 or 5 different episodes because Castlevania is huge. And on his last episode, he was like, "Yeah, by the way, this is the last Castlevania game that was released. It was released in 2011." And you think Castlevania being one of the most famous video
Yeah, yeah.
game franchises in the world, everybody knows who Castlevania is, and they haven't had a mainline game in over 14 years. You're like, well, what's going on? Why did they do that? And he's like, Konami, the makers of Castlevania, decided to get really into the mobile game market because the mobile game market prints money.
Yeah.
Monopoly Go,
Yep.
Pokemon Go, Raid Shadow Legends. What's the other one that's super?
Genshin Impact makes a ton of
That's the
money.
one. Yep. That's the one I was thinking of. Genshin Impact. And then like Clash of Clans. I know a lot
Yep.
of people who got real deep into that.
Any of the Supercell games are usually towards the top of charts. Yep.
Yeah, stuff like that. I think there's a Marvel game that is pretty big out there, along with stuff like Hearthstone, which I don't even think is around anymore. I haven't heard about Hearthstone in a
No, it
while.
still
I don't even
is.
know how I is it still around?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's the World of Warcraft like card game.
yeah, I know that brought decent numbers. I'm sure Magic the Gathering Arena pulls in decent numbers. Um, if you can get a mobile game to hit, you're printing money,
Yeah,
right? Like
it
that's all there is to it.
it actually makes way the mobile game industry makes more than the rest of the stuff. It's the most lucrative by far.
Yeah. So it would make sense that Bandai Namco, who is known for, and I've joked about this on literally every time this gets brought up, but like the Tales series of RPGs, Tekken, Pac Man, some of the Dragon Ball Z fighters, and there's one other major, the Dark Souls series, and like Katamari.
You're
That's
talking
all Bandai Namco has going for it as a game developer. That's it. That's their stuff is Tekken, Dark Souls, the Tales series, Pac-Man, Katamari. Those are its 5 most famous um, games that they develop. It would make sense that they would want to figure out a way to get into the mobile game market.
yeah.
At the very least, they could lean into their Tales, or they could lean into Tekken, or something like that. So maybe they partnered with a Savvy Games Group, or maybe they partnered with Scopely or something, and say, "Here, use our most famous characters." Because I'd argue, outside of Pac-Man, the most famous characters that Bandai Namco have are Tekken characters. Use that. In return, like, let's do some development stuff. Let's try to figure out if any of this can be turned. Let's see what the Tekken characters do from a monetary standpoint and a purchase standpoint and a hype standpoint to see if this is even worth us doing ourselves. And then maybe if they do end up making a significant amount of extra money from the Tekken month, okay, in this very small community of gamers, Tekken hit good. So let's go and make our own Tekken mobile game. to try to break into the mobile game world. Because I wonder if Bandai Namco even has any mobile games.
I don't know. So I'm on the top grossing games on Google Play. Monopoly Go,
Mm-hmm.
Scopely is number one. Last War Survival is number two. That's a like a base builder. Royal March, I think, is a Supercell game. It's very similar, I think. No, this isn't. That's a weird puzzle kind of thing too. It's a puzzle match three. I was way wrong with that. Roblox is four. Candy Crush five. Coin Master is six. It's just literally a penny pushing game. It's crazy. Um, yeah. So yeah, Raid is number 14. Pokemon Go is number 15. Um, so and then you got like Clash Royale. Um, Call of Duty Mobile's 24.
That makes sense. Call of Duty Mobile isn't the worst gaming experience on your phone. It's not the best by any means, but it's not the worst.
Another Clash of Clans. A lot of slot gambling games towards the top. Interestingly enough.
That also makes fun. That makes a lot of sense too. Um, yeah, so I'm on Bandai Namco's website right now,
Mm-hmm.
looking at their mobile game division. It's literally Tamagotchi, which I forgot they had, Galaga, Pac-Man Royale, another Tamagotchi, this thing called Very Little Nightmares, which, just judging by the art, looks super cool. Um, Dragon Ball, as previously mentioned, and One Piece.
Okay.
So yeah, I can see them wanting to figure out how to tap into the mobile game market, because everything that is listed off, other than Pac-Man, isn't exactly like a super attention getter. I guess
Right.
Dragon Ball could be. Dragon Ball's huge.
Yeah, Dragon Ball's really big. And also too, a lot of the mobile game market, the thing to remember is it makes a fraction in the US what it makes like globally. So like in the US Genshin is way down, but
Mm-hmm.
globally Genshin is huge.
I wonder why that is. I wonder what cultural differences are
I,
out there that makes mobile gaming so much larger in the grander world scheme of things than here in America.
so my guess, right? So if you think about it, right? Like like Japan in particular, always they're early adopters seemingly of like tech, video games, that kind of stuff, right? Like we kind of get it later and then get a westernized version a lot of times. But like I imagine we're like, slightly behind the change, right? Like tech is bigger in Japan than here and stuff like that. So I think we're maybe a little bit farther behind. And as it goes on, more and more people, our age now are gamers, right? Whereas you have people in Japan that like our parents' age are gamers, you know what I mean? And very few of our parents are gamers, but in Japan a lot are. So I think that's part of it, right? Like I think they're just more I don't know, early adopters the right term, or more a little more big into tech and that kind of stuff. I think that would be my guess. Along with part culture, like as far as success wise, the style of game plays a big difference, right? Um, not everyone loves JRPGs like you and I would in America, but in Japan, obviously, JRPGs are even more popular. They're just RPGs there.
Yeah, and they're massively successful and they're
Right.
huge and they're everywhere. Go to you and if you guys that are listening to this or watching this, probably listening, don't believe us. Go to your Xbox if you've got an Xbox subscription, or the Game Pass subscription, or you have PlayStation Game Pass subscription. I forget what it's called on PlayStation. Go look at the free games and go see how many of them are JRPGs. There's a ton. You've never heard of any of them. I guarantee it. Because I've never heard of any of them. Unless you're an absolute JRPG like super fan, you're gonna find stuff you're like, what in the world is this? And they're the majority, maybe not the majority, that's probably the wrong way of putting it, but there's a ton of JRPGs out there. And it's because, you know, Asia loves role-playing games, loves them. Um, I always thought that it was, have you ever heard of a Pachinko parlor?
Yes, but
Yeah, Pachinko.
I don't know specifically what it is, but yes. Also,
So
oh, go ahead.
it's a it's a type of gambling. Gambling is, at least in Japan, gambling is a no no. You don't do any kind of gambling in Japan, but they've got workarounds. And one of them is a what's called a pachinko machine. And a pachinko machine is like, you know those coin pushers where they like,
Yep.
you got you got a bunch of quarters and sometimes stacks of chips and stuff, and you drop a quarter in and it pushes the massive quarters forwards, and sometimes they drop off a shelf and they push the stuff that's on the lower shelf into the collection unit, and you know, sometimes you put in a quarter and you get 4 quarters back, you win. Sometimes you put a quarter in and you don't get any. Pachinko games are variations of that, where you put in these little steel balls into a machine and then it does something. And then if it does the right thing, you get a whole bunch of those steel balls back, or you get, you know, some sort of credits that you can then spend at another store. So it's not gambling because you're not getting money back from the machine for winning. You're only getting these steel balls back, and these steel balls can be exchanged for valuable prizes at a different store, not in the pachinko parlor. So that's their workaround for gambling. And they're huge. They're massively they're a big deal, and drive a large part of their economy. I wonder if they're just not like closet gamblers, just gambling like crazy, wherever and whenever they can, and that's why they don't mind the RNG loot box gambling aspect of mobile games. Maybe it
Um,
scratches that itch where, you know, we can go to Atlantic City or Vegas, or
that could be.
depending on what state you live, your local gas station, sit down and play, you know, electronic poker. But they can't do that over there.
I
So
mean,
their way around it is on their phone.
gotcha is GACHA. That's a not our term, right? Like that's based on the style of, you know, open this and see what you get in it, sort of thing. So anyway, mobile games in 2024 accounted for approximately 74.4% of the total digital gaming revenue. That includes console and PC combined in there as well. So their mobile games generate more digital revenue than it's 75% of it basically. So everything else is just
Oh
25%.
my goodness.
Mm-hmm. And then
That is that's mind blowing.
it was
Actually,
it was
that
I
is
think
legitimately, like, I never would have thought of that.
mobile game. Let me do the total revenue. It's massive. It's like I think it's like over $100 billion. Mobile gaming revenue 2024. In 2024, the global mobile app market generated 535.8 billion in revenue.
That is an obscene number.
Yeah, so it's some so interestingly, not all of it is from people spending, it's also from advertising in it, it looks like too. Mobile ad spending reached 402 billion. I'm not even sure what that means necessarily. I'm assuming what percentage of so it the global
I can
mobile
kind of see 400 billion though.
in so I'm reading a few different things. So the mobile app market is not just games, maybe? I don't know. Let me keep looking because I want to get this right. Mobile game revenue. So right now
While you're
in
looking that up, spending 400 million or 400 billion, whatever you said it was, on advertising
mm-hmm,
makes a lot of sense to me, because how many YouTube
eyeballs,
videos have
yep.
you watched where the first ad is either something for Raid Shadow Legends,
Mm-hmm.
or what is that? Oh god, I hate these style ads. oh, the game that you see advertised. I finally downloaded it, and everybody said it was a fake game, but it's real. So
Yep.
when you download this game, you're going to get that. And it's a little soldier shooting the waves of the enemies, and it's never actually that game because it's caught me at least twice where I download the real game, and the real game's nothing like the advertisement.
Right.
So I can see a lot of money being dumped into that because I see those commercials all the time.
This is crazy. All right. So this says in 2025 there are over 3.3 billion mobile gamers worldwide. It is nearly 42% of the global population. And then 2024, the actual revenue from like spending or buying was 111.4 billion. That's not counting like the ad revenue and that stuff.
That's insane.
Yeah, the crazy thing is with that many
That's insane.
gamers, you don't need to spend that much average. And that's part of why it's because everyone has a phone. You know, not everyone has a console, not everyone has this PC, but everyone has a phone. Interesting. Oh, they divide it by country here. 2025 revenue in US dollars. China 40 billion, USA 25 billion, Japan 18 billion. Of course, less people, right, in Japan than the US by far, so that's really high.
Mm-hmm.
So South Korea 6.8 billion, Germany 3.9, and UK 3.7. And they also divide it by ARPU, which is like spending by like per transaction or something. But yeah, those are the biggest countries. China 40 billion alone in mobile. Um, but you know, the more people you have, obviously. Let's see here we got India 5 billion, Brazil 2.5, MENA region 4 billion, and Indonesia 2 billion. Apparently, India is growing huge. Just looking at some of the stats here.
Huh. So I was curious. I wanted to figure out how you got to 111.4 billion out of 3.3 billion users. That's only $33 per gamer.
Right.
$33 per gamer gets you to $111 billion. 33 isn't all that much.
It's not.
I would wager a guess that most of the people that are watching this video have spent more than $33 this year on Champions alone.
Oh yeah.
I've spent half that on Raid, and I've only bought one thing.
Yeah, right. So I'm
Yeah,
looking
like
at another one that's listing the top earning games of 2025 on mobile. Honor of Kings is 2.5 billion. I don't even know what that game is. It says it's a MOBA.
what?
Yeah. PUBG, it says 2 billion. Genshin Impact 1.8. Candy Crush 1 billion. And Roblox 900 million.
So Roblox makes sense. That
Yeah,
tracks
yeah,
because
yeah.
it's got that Fortnite thing where you just buy in-game credit for skins and stuff like that. Candy Crush though, like what are you guys? What are we doing?
I have no idea, dude. How you I don't know how they make so much money, but they apparently do. And it's fascinating when you look at it, right? The mobile just is just crazy. You reach so many more users though, so it makes sense, right? It's a numbers game.
I mean, it is installed basically on every phone that everybody buys. Candy Crush is now an installed, or at least on several phones that I've purchased, it's an installed game already there. So like that helps, you know.
For sure.
But man, $1 billion on Candy Crush is insanity.
Right? Yeah, there's some I think if I recall correctly when I was looking stuff up, there's some games that have mobile games, and this has been more than a year since I looked, like the highest grossing of all time. I want to say there was a couple games over 10, 20 billion lifetime in profits on, or not profits, but in revenue on a mobile game. Can you imagine, like, just on one game in its lifespan that much? It's crazy. It's anyway, it's definitely a thing. So I think a big company would have to be stupid not to recognize the potential for earnings there.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's to go back to the original point. I think that's why we have Tekken. I don't think it's a WWE thing. I don't think we're going to start seeing, you know, Tiffy time show up in the ring in a Nina cosplay.
It would probably be Zelina
Although that
Vega.
would probably work. Zelina Vega could do,
Any cosplay she wants. She's great.
yeah, true.
But go ahead. No, no.
But yeah, I don't think we're going to see that. I think we're going to see more of Scopely getting into it. We'll know if for some reason Heihachi shows up in Monopoly Go. If we see Heihachi in Monopoly Go, we know exactly what has happened here, and it's Scopely and Bandai Namco, not WWE.
Right. It's interesting though, because it just Tekken seems so random for a wrestling crossover. You know?
I'm here for it though. Again,
Yeah,
I
I
don't
like
know.
them.
Tekken's fun. Tekken's
Anything,
great.
anything different, I think is fun. To be honest.
Yeah, I worry about execution when it comes to champions in Tekken. Um,
Fair.
but I think that's a pretty standard fear among any of us that have been playing for a while and have kind of paid attention to what happens. There has to be a line of like, you've got to make it fun for everybody, and you still have to give certain people a reason to wail out.
Yeah, they have to make money
And
on
then
the,
you,
because the license probably comes with some cost.
sure, yeah, there's got to be some sort of, and generally the way there's got to be some sort of carrot to dangle in front of the player base. And I thought like Turtles did that really well. But on the flip side, like the most recent Zombie Month didn't do that very well. At no point in time did I really feel like the dangling of the carrot like you do, or like I did with the Turtle
You didn't
event.
get FOMO'd, is what you're saying,
Exactly, yes.
right? Because like, and that's the scary thing about crossovers. And the worst part is you get a trainer like Leo, right? Or Raph if you didn't get Raphael. If you don't have
Yeah.
Raph, you can't do the power gems right. You know what I mean? 200% is not nothing.
It's 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 the rusty conundrum, right? I Rusty always talks about how he made the wrong decision because he picked up Leo instead of Raph. And for the longest time, my gut shot was like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. Leo's much more important than Raphael is. Uh, is he? Because I have Raphael and I don't have Leo. I wish I had Leo. He's got Leo but doesn't have Raphael. He wishes he had Raph. I would argue that Raphael might actually be more important to have because the cards that Raphael's useful on, it is super useful on. But you can get away with not having Leo and be just fine.
I think it in general.
Both of those are still locked behind
Right,
something that will never happen.
right. The and that's the part I dislike. Like, so for example, Tech Rocky is he's like 100% all gem damage. That's insane, right? 100% all gem damage rainbow. There are lots of places where I would love to use that, and I'll never be able to get him. He's gone forever. That sucks. And to your
Yes.
point, whichever one you don't have is definitely the one you should have got.
Well, so I've no, Tech Rocky is not one of those that I ever really FOMO'd about. I knew, his training ability was top tier. 100% rainbow gym damage. It's fantastic. It's the largest single gym damage buff in the game from the entourage spot. I don't mind not having him the same way that it bugs me that I don't have Leo. And it doesn't bother me that I'm never going to get that Rocky the way it bugs me that I don't have Leo.
No,
And I
that's
don't
fair.
know why.
Well, so I mean, if you don't have Sherry, you kind of need one or the other, right? Like in some cases, right? Like you just need bigger multiplies, and you don't have you just those are the two options, right? Just like in some cases, you need more
Hmm.
multiplies. Like your two options are Mosh or Howdy. You know what I mean? And you would know this because you're a numbers guy. So like in the case of Leo, there's literally no replacing the three multiply. Your next best is like one, but it's not as good as the zombies. So I kind of get it. Um, and then the RAF, RAF is probably technically more impactful, as the other potential options are nowhere near him. At the same time, you're probably not using power gems very often in a lot of modes. Now, Titan does bring some of that back, right? Potentially boss battle at times brings some of that back. So I think it's hard to say which one would be better to have. If I had to pick one today, I would probably pick Leo still, but I think it would be a lot closer now than I originally thought when they came out.
See, I'm the other way around. I now that a lot of people probably don't know this, but me and you had a lot of conversations back when I was really digging my teeth into how hard is it to replace Leo, and like when is it better to use Leo and when is it better to use an actual generic zombie. And we talked about it a lot. And at the time, I was convinced that there was nothing you could do to increase damage to the same level that you were going to get out of Leo. And once I kind of sat down and figured it out and wrapped my head around the problem and got to a point where I was like, oh, I understand exactly how all this works now. The damage increase that you get from Leo most of the time is minimal compared to using a generic zombie.
Yeah, actually, that's true.
Like minimal in the grand scheme of things. I'm talking maybe a 10 to 15% swing in total damage output. On certain cards, that's the difference between a T1 knockout and then somebody kicking out and punching you in the face. Many times it's not. Many
Sure.
times you can get away with a zombie, sometimes two zombies, and even outclass the amount of damage that a single Leo could do. There is nothing, absolutely nothing you can do to replace 200% increased attack power from power gems.
Currently, yes,
And the
correct.
wording there is very important. Yeah, there's nothing there that's
The drop off
what
is
is that
50%. You lose 150% because you could use Bliss at
off the rip.
50%, or you could use Bella at 50%. So if you lose 150% to the next best option.
At the very least, you lose 150%. The reason I worded it in the power gems do more attack on or do X percentage on attack or whatever, it's because the cards like that's another thing we talked about. I was over the moon when I found this out. Striker Bradshaw does it, and
Yep.
somebody else does it. Striker Batista does this. Anything that increases power gems on the
Penta as
board
well. Yep.
then get affected by the 200%. So the
Yes.
increase is actually significantly more than 200%
It's
because you're changing
multiplicative,
the base that it's working off of. Yeah.
and almost nothing
So
in our
that's
game is. So
right. Yeah. So the increase that you get from Raphael is a more significant increase to the total amount of damage output than what you're going to get from Leo versus a generic zombie.
oh, I agree with you completely.
So I now that I know all of this, I would go back and tell past Slim to pick up Raphael. That doesn't stop the sting from the fact that I don't have Leo on my account and I don't know what I'm going to do until I get Leo on my account. It is the last card that I feel that strongly about. That is still theoretically available in the game, theoretically, because we have had
Yep.
no word on whether or
Right.
not the turtle
Correct.
license is gone.
Correct.
So that's the last one. That's the one that I'm like, I have to have this. If they do that with Tekken, it's going to make me mad.
Right, for sure. I hope they don't put so. And I agree with you. Like, so Raphael is more impactful at what he does than Leo, no question. There's way more options to work around Leo, right? So I agree with you there. Of the two, I use Leo way more often, right? So that's how I kind of look at it. It's
Well,
way,
sure, yes.
yeah, it's way closer now. And now I would think about it, where before I wouldn't have thought about it at all. And now it would definitely be a tough choice. But it's also interesting too, because we don't know. Tomorrow, they could drop a 4x multiply coach, and then all of a sudden Leo's irrelevant. Or they drop they start dropping they do a power trainer month like they just did with the zombies with trap gems, and all of a sudden we don't care about Raph, right? So that's the bad part about it, but also the good part. And I would personally, because if you got them, you had plenty of time to earn them or use them or pay for your early access, plus you still have the limited edition stuff. But I feel like trainers like that should eventually be replaced, because impactful trainers like a Raph should be able to be gotten eventually. You know what I mean? There shouldn't just be something that is way better than any other trainer you can possibly use forever if you miss out.
That's yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I did so much trying to figure out, can a generic zombie hold up to Leo? Because once I found that out, it stung a little bit less that I didn't have Leo. I was like,
Yeah,
all right, well, I can approximate this. You can't approximate Ray.
you can't.
You can approximate Tech Rocky,
Yeah,
kind of.
kind
You
of.
know,
It
if you say you have an MP gear on somebody, you
sure.
throw two Hall of Fame characters. Now you're at, what is it, 60% Rainbow Gem damage
Right.
plus all of the extra goodies you get for running Hall of Fames.
Correct.
Is that still the same as 100% Rainbow? No, it's not. Do the
But it
goodies make up for the fact that you're missing out on 40% Rainbow? Kind of in certain
depends.
situations,
Yep.
but it doesn't sting nearly as much. You can't replace that 150% from Ray.
No, you can't. Currently, you cannot. It's and it's multiplicative too. So it's like that's the thing, right? It's like gaining 50% gem damage. Okay, big deal. There's if it's a multiply person, it's a bigger deal. But if it's a multiply person, you probably have a better option than that anyway. Maybe not actually. Depends. But at the same time, you get a 200% boost to a multiplicative power gem that has a chance to scale huge. You never know how. It's kind of like KO. KO is always going to be somewhat relevant if you can get him to work, because the way the traps and the gem buffs and stuff work, that he's always going to have the potential to be in some kind of damage conversation if you can put up with his nonsense, right? Same sort of this kind of
Mm-hmm.
trainer like Raph is in that same sort of vein. If they don't make anything that good, he's always a one of one, right? Like you just can't do it without him. Period. That's like there's some builds you need Mosh or they just don't work. You need Howdy in particular because he works on traps and stuff. Howdy's a one of one like that too. So and Ray is a one of one. Like when it's stuff that there's no one else can do, those are the ones you really, really want.
You have to have, yeah. No, I agree. And but on the flip side, so with the Tekken crossover, if they do the Tekken crossover like the recent zombie training abilities, that's also going to suck.
That would suck.
I'm just going to throw it out there.
Yeah,
It's
no,
going to
it
be
would suck.
it's going to be really lame if they're all the
The
same
same,
thing.
it's boring.
Well, one, it's boring. Two, there's diminishing returns.
Yep.
In my opinion. I think I was on the Champions Chat Discord server. I was talking to a couple people about this. The idea of what they were doing, that they did not want training abilities being locked behind premium characters, was a cool thought process
I love
by
the idea.
Scopely. It's a good thought process by
Yes.
Scopely. Thank you for at the very least recognizing the problem the community has with limited time characters or limited time cards or posters, whatever you want to call them. Thanks for recognizing that this is a thing. This wasn't the fix, because now I have, personally, on my own account, I have 3 different versions. No, 1, 2, 3. I have 4 different versions of Acro Dragon, essentially.
Right.
I didn't need 4.
I
Uh,
mean the yeah.
I didn't need 4. Is 2 cool? Sure. Are some of them marginally better than Acro Dragon? Yeah, 1 isn't 1.
So
There
Bliss
one
Bliss
trainer
is
that's better
way
than
better.
Dragon.
Bliss is way better, 200% in 3.
Yes.
And then
Yeah.
I think Jacob's 2, right? 200% in 2.
Let me. I
And
just
then
couldn't remember what
and
Dragon
then
did.
Penta and Naomi are 150 and 1, so potentially better but not necessarily.
So it's situational. Okay, so Acro Dragon is trap gems are 100% and moves that generate trap gems create 2 at 31k. So in some situations, Naomi and the other one, Penta,
Penta
are more damage, but they don't create as many
is many
traps.
traps. Yep.
And then it makes Zombie Jacob and Zombie Alexa a flat upgrade, right?
Yes, Jacob is 2 and I believe 200%. Yeah, he's 2 and 200%, so flat upgrade. And Alexa's off the charts at 200% in 3.
Yeah, so those 2 are the only clear upgrades we got to Dragon. We got 5 new cards with this with this entourage ability. Only 2 of them are better. One of them is a borderline, and 2 of them are not as good. Um,
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Like
we
I thought
didn't
some would
need
be
that.
trainers, to be honest. If they wanted to go with the trap theme or something, you know?
Trainers would have been nice. Um, you know what? You know what? I hope they make the Tekken characters. Oh, hold on. My little brain is brain in here. What if they did? So what's the trainer that we kind of lack the most? I was talking to
For
Blueski
tech
about this.
gems, there's none.
There's no protect gems. There's none. Cross break gems or X break gems. There's almost none.
Snowfall
Um,
coaches are Snowfall is the redheaded stepchild of Pyros. So Snowfall has like nothing other
yeah.
than one from Snoop, where like Pyros you get all of the stuff. You know, everyone is a Pyro trainer. You get
Mm-hmm.
so Snowfall generate is another one. Crossbreak is just Andre, Titan Andre for Crossbreak at the coach. And then a huge fall off.
I was thinking they could do for the Tekken characters just +2 MP of whatever
Mm-hmm.
associated MP color they want, and then they can fill it out with the rest of that. So make it MP and then generate protect gems, or MP and generate snowfall gems, or MP and
Mm-hmm.
generate power gems, or
Right.
something along those lines. That would be a lot more impactful. Makes you want to chase it, but doesn't make you feel bad if you don't have it by making them +2 MP trainers.
Yeah, yeah.
Because like I still don't have Big Papa Pump, for instance, on my account, which is plus what is it, +2 purple, +40% purple?
No, it's
No,
green,
no purple,
and
yeah.
isn't BP? Oh,
Or is it green? Okay,
yeah. I think the tech is purple, and BPP is I believe he's 50, 2 and 50.
okay. I don't have him. I don't miss him. I would
Yeah,
like to have him. If they put him on the store for $5, I'd get it, just
sure.
so I have this trainer available to me now that I don't have. If they did kind of the same thing with Tekken, I'd be fine, because while I would want these coaches and trainers, and it would incentivize me to chase them a little bit harder. Sure, that's fine. But if I don't have them, I'm not in a Leo Raff situation, or a
Right.
Sherry Howdy, or Tech Rocky type situation, right? So maybe I'm all in on that. Let's do that. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, there's a also like it'd be kind. I know. I'm pretty sure they don't really want to make any more dual 4 MP trainers because they're worried about breaking things. But we could use some more 2 1s, or maybe do some 2 2s. You know, like
I say they just break it and give me two. Just do the duel at 4 MPs.
I
Break the
would love
game.
it.
Let us figure it out.
I would love it. I want a green blue so bad.
Green blue would be good. I wonder if you could actually make Julius hit into the stratosphere with purple blue.
Oh yeah, he'd be nuts for
I bet you
sure.
could.
with the
I
gear
bet
and
you could figure out a
stuff,
way to do
he'd
it.
be crazy. Yeah, purple blue, purple yellow. Yeah, lots of different combos.
By
I
the way,
mean, hmm?
pro tip for all you guys who have managed to make it to this far: Julius's gear is available for purchase from Silver Hangers.
Yep,
I have outspokenly said that the gear is worthless and you should not get it because you'll never ever use it. I'm now wrong. Go get the gear so you can use it in Titan mode.
yep, with the
You can
bliss
get it for
plate.
free. All you have to do is grind the Silver Hangers and the Blues plate. Yeah, like go nuts, go ham.
Yep,
So go get the gear.
yep. That gear
There's
is
the PSA.
500K. It's one of the better ones. I got that from the store with Mherex as soon as Titan rolled around. Actually, it's a million. It's a million. I'm looking at it right
It is
now.
a million.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It won't take
I'm
that long to get there, though.
303. I'm only 30,000 away. Once I recognized like Titan, and I was like, "Oh, Julius is going to be good for this." It's like, "Oh wait, I need his gear, and he's going to be really good at this."
Yep.
Um,
Actually, if you're doing a normal kind of rotation with it, he can out damage that and the bliss plate with that, and it's a trap. Because as long as you need a little bit of luck in some of them, but you can reset Titan, so it's not a big deal. But if you get his move down once per cycle, it out damages. It's a trap by a good amount.
no kidding. I
Yep.
didn't know that.
Yeah, I've ran Julius both ways, and as long as you get, so you're 1 MP short, so you need a cascade in one of them. So you can actually, if you run Julius, I did
Hmm.
it actually yesterday that on Mherex. That's why I know. Um, if you get if you run him with well we have tour perks, so I don't know how long this will last. If you run him with Woods and then
True.
um Lex Luger, right? And then you run the Tamu plate and the Moment of Bliss. Your first turn, regular traps, blow up traps. That's 2 actions. Then you drop the multiplies. Then you drop the traps, and then you blow it up. That guarantees you 1. Then you just need hit a cascade on the next 2 turns to get it a second time. But yeah, I did it 3 times. 3 for 3, and yeah, his damage is he out damaged Muda that way. No hot tag trickery.
No kidding.
Yeah, I just ran him first, Muda second, and he out damaged Muda. I should have saved the screenshot. But yeah, it's better than it's a trap. As long as you get it down each time.
Huh.
And 5
No
actions
kidding.
works perfect. Yeah, do the buff first, buff blow, and then multiply buff blow. And then you get the double buff into the multiplies. I think it hit for one. Mine is hype 3, and it was hitting for 1.8 billion on the second hit each time. So he did 1.8 three
That
times plus the initial hits 3 times.
I mean, that'll play, right? That's how much. How much more do you really want out of a card than 2 billion without like jumping through hoops, right?
Yeah.
I just did recorded a video with a DK Cena hit that I haven't published yet, where I got Grande Americano up to 5.6 billion. I'm pretty okay with that. Americano is not the best tech to use by any stretch of the imagination. But I got to 5.6 on a tier 5. Getting just 2 billion out of a single card without having to do any particular Titan takeover tech is a win in my book.
Yeah.
Um,
I think like that is kind of smart, like what you're saying, right? Like honestly, once you get it unlocked, you're putting it on farm and you want to just get your max damage chest without a ton of effort, and then also kind of be building in your head this idea that we're going to get harder titans and what is it going to take to unlock them. So I think you're right. Plus a lot of the trickeration, there's no way it'll continue long term, right? There's a lot of tricks that are being fixed, patched out, and in general, I guarantee you every titan on tier 6 will destroy the board. There's no way they won't destroy the board on the
yeah,
swap, right? Like, so a lot of the stuff people are into right now not going to be a long-term viable strategy at the higher tiers. So I think developing things that, for example, Penta with the Ray and the power gems, right? Or things like that where these they naturally hit hard will help you way more long term, and also short term save you time. So I'm a big fan of that. Like I'm in the process of building like a really comprehensive list for some of the better Titan people to run without like a ton of tricks, but it's a long process.
So how do you feel about how do you feel about stuff like that? There's some stuff in Titan that is obviously a little wonky compared to the rest of the game.
Yep.
Um, and you're sitting here saying that you think they're going to patch it out for like tier 6, tier 7. Whereas they are like the hot tag thing. The hot tag mechanic in Titan, I think, is fascinating.
Oh,
And I
it's
like it
completely
as a game
bugged.
mechanic very, very much.
That's completely
And
bugged.
yeah, it may be bugged, but like,
No, that's
leave
going away
it.
for sure. That one's going away for sure. That's why I haven't made a video on it, on the hot tag with the with
Oh,
that. Yeah, that's 100% going away for sure. Like that one, the
see,
Cena also broke Showdown. I don't know if you know this, but uh if you put two hot tag people with a hot tag person with Cena, it won't let like if you have you ever ran Showdown and hot tag not worked? That's why. You when you have two hot
um,
tag people because it was tagging back and forth, where you just tag, and that's not how they intended it to work. So yeah, like the hot tag has been buggy. So that
yeah.
one, and now how do I feel about it is a different question. So I'm when it's right away, right? And they say something like move damage isn't supposed to work on subs. As soon as they saw the video on it, whatever, found it out, they're like, okay, it's not supposed to work this way. I knew that going into it. Probably was the case. That's the way original one worked. And after all of the stuff with that, I didn't want to do another one with hot tag, right? But I hate it going away, but I also understand it when it's a bug, if that makes sense. So if it's a clear bug, then yes. Now the MP issue with tour perks, that one pisses me off because that was readily apparent from the jump. Like that was the first thing I tried and it worked. And people have said, well, it's not in tours and stuff, but you literally go to career and it's almost in the same spot as tours, Titan Takeover. You know what I mean? So that's the
Mm-hmm.
reason I assumed it would probably work the first time. It's kind of in the same sort of area as all of the tours. Your first thing is Titan Takeover, then you have the road, then you have your daily tours. All of that stuff works. Now you can make the case you scroll down to Showdown, it won't work, but literally 3/4 of the stuff in there, or 2/3 of the stuff in there was tour perk related. And you go in there and instantly you know if it works or not based on whether you're loaded or not. That literally is a 10-second check. That if that, right? So that one pissed me off because it's 3 weeks into it and now they're saying they're taking it away. So that one I don't understand on any level. I feel like that one should stay. And I also feel like the part of that going away is to monetize it potentially, right? So I'm of two minds, but where it's clearly buggy, would I like them to leave the move damage working on subs? Yes, because it's fun and fun is important. But I do understand that one more than I understand the other one. Also, with the hot tag thing, I can probably get. There's a couple guys on my roster I could probably solo a tier 4 when they're if I wanted to put hype and get Cena to level 4. Um, Dick kick Cena, I could probably solo a tier 4, and that's probably not good. Anyway,
Well, who cares if it's good or not good, right? Like, so the, the reason I bring it up is I I like it when companies allow gamers to be gamers,
yep,
and just absolutely break something that they did not think. Now, if they well, I take it back. If they break it completely, nah, you're gonna have to fix it because it's absolutely broken. But if something has an unintended consequence, um, shame on y'all. Y'all made it. You know, the gamers are just gamers and figured this stuff out.
correct.
And I don't think, gamers being gamers should be punished. I think that's just one of those where they
Oh
just,
yeah, yeah, for sure.
lick their wounds and just be like, all right. Because I mean, you go like go watch any speed run of Super Mario or Mario 64, right? That game's broken, absolutely broken beyond belief. The reason that Super Smash Bros. Melee is still a competitive game is because it's broken beyond belief, and there's no patching you can do to it. Whereas if you look at something newer like Cuphead was broken at release, and now it's not because the game developers patched it, and people got mad. They're like, "Oh, y'all the ones who screwed this up. Why are you ruining our experience because y'all screwed this up the first time?" And I think stuff like the hot tags in Titan is something like that. Will it allow certain players and certain accounts to solo a tier four? Yeah, it's not the player's fault.
No,
You
it's not.
you guys just didn't design something the right way, and you have allowed them to do something that you didn't think should be done. But that's on y'all. That's what y'all created. Don't go back and ruin our fun because y'all didn't do something the right way. The same way, kind of with, and I'm thinking more along the lines of the hot tag in Titan. Move damage affecting subs. That's just something that doesn't normally work in the game. That's just broken. Like, okay, if you have to fix that one, I understand that one a little bit more than I do fixing the hot tags in Titan. Hot tags in Titan, y'all designed this. Somebody found it, abused it. It's not our fault. That's your fault.
Yeah, so
Um,
the big thing really, and the real problem is, as I just was doing my stip tour and realized it wasn't damage, it was break the most gems and screwed it up, but that's fine. Um, the big problem is Titan has gotten less fun every week, right? So it started out wide open, and then all they've done is restrict it more. And that's the real problem to me, is the loss of fun. Um, we
yeah.
don't have any kind of sandbox sort of mode. Titan kind of felt pretty sandboxy, like the most sandbox we've had, and they've just restricted it more as it's went. And my concern with Titan, along with the restrictiveness, is that they're going to monetize it, which we already see with them selling energy. And I feel like the tour perks, they're going to probably sell perks. They'll probably sell a pack. Maybe now that they got us used to having 2 times speed up, that eventually maybe goes away. I don't know. I hope not. But the long story short for me is I want to do fun stuff and have fun. And the big problem, in a nutshell, with what they've done with Titan is they've made it progressively more restrictive and progressively less fun. So, as a player that likes to have fun, do I want the hot tags to stay working? Yeah, because now that lets me do all kinds of fun stuff that I can't really do anywhere else, or I can't do anywhere else at all, because everywhere else I'm just trying to win as fast as I can, as safe as I can, right? So, uh, yeah, I do wish it would stay and do. And the move damage thing, the game actually worked like that before, is when boss battle first came out. Move damage affects subs that way too.
Mm-hmm.
So that was no surprise that it did that for me, because that's how boss originally worked, and then they patched that out too, right? Everyone used to use Seth, mutant Seth, and just keep hammering the sub over and over.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And so yeah, it's kind of a bummer, because sometimes their mistakes make the game more fun. Like you're talking about Cuphead, right? If the game is more fun, well, what's the unintended consequence? Maybe more people will unlock a tier 4. But really, most of the people with the stuff to really take advantage of that already have tier 4 unlocked anyway. Like, if you're going to need a high level hype Cena. And then you're going to need a hot tag guy that's got the potential to grow his damage huge in the main slot. Then you're going to need the plates. You know what I mean? So, yeah, long story short, it would probably be better for them to leave the fun, have more people play about it and talk about it, than it would be to keep the game arbitrarily harder and less fun.
Yeah, the game's not very fun, is it?
Too much of it isn't.
I was
No.
just thinking about that. Yeah, there's a lot of our game that isn't a ton of fun, and I was just sitting and thinking about it. I did a couple of videos on the new hot tag link or the new tag links,
Mm-hmm.
and I was super excited about them because you could do some really
They're
cool
cool.
stuff.
Yeah, agreed.
Um, the Wyatt family one in particular. I actually did a video on Titan Takeover using
Yep.
Wyatt cards because you could take advantage of the tag link and obviously you're running in Titan. Um, Outside of Titan mode though, the tag links are useless. Um, I've not ever really thought about them when I'm running showdowns, and we know that there's enough showdowns to be run at any point in time. Every once in a while, I'll make sure I run raw tag link just to get that one extra MP in certain situations. But for the most part, I don't think about it. And tag links, as a concept, and the way they're executed in game, are actually pretty neat and pretty interesting. Um, they just don't matter enough because
Do you know why that
everything
is?
is T1.
Yeah,
Everything's
everything
turn one.
that, but also because Scopely's so darn restrictive on everything, right? Like, so take for
Yeah.
example, Zombie Link and Hall of Fame Link. Why they're probably the two most used showdown links is because you have a plethora of potential zombies if you spend, or Hall of Fame to choose from, right? And then they're a impactful boost, right? So if there's a lady showdown in the second slot, now you just plug in your lady Hall of Famer to get that MP boost on your guy main. But then you add hype, it makes it even more restrictive. So like the odds of ever getting to use Smash and Axe in Showdown and use their 10 MP red link is probably slim. Plus, a lot of times you have to use the specific class to get the bonus points, like this last showdown, for example, where you had to use tech. So if you want to get the tech bonus points, you can't even use uh, good tag links that you might anyways, right? Just for example. So again, the problem with why, in my opinion, most of the game isn't fun is it's so restrictive, right? Scopely is always telling me who I have to use for what I have to use, and that makes it less fun. If you The links is a great idea. The links are fun. They're awesome. They make characters more powerful, incentivizes you to think of combos for them, but you essentially make it so I can't ever use them, you know? And that takes the fun of the links right out of the way. Where,
Excuse me.
no, you're fine. Where you're saying, like, and it's true, you're basically saying links don't matter because guess what? They don't. Why? Because Scopely makes it so they don't. So they have these sometimes really great ideas, but then they just restrict the heck out of it. Same part of the problem I have with Feud, and maybe you will. So you can't play a lot on Flash Feuds, right? Because you're working. So
Mm-hmm.
you get into play. What are you going to do? You're going to do your CSS first, right? Now your CSS is done, and especially with hype, it's even harder. Lord knows how many matches that takes. Maybe you get tagged with some ding dong that wants to run just queues with you with 3 times your roster size. So now you get somebody way harder, and then he takes an hour to win. This is a little bit facetious, right? But it takes like 20 minutes to win. Now you've wasted 20 minutes, and you had 20 minutes, and you got one of your CSS done, and you have 6 left. That isn't a fun experience, right? Like, to me, the things that kill our game the most is CSS being forced to use them. And if you want people to be creative with their lineup, give a gosh dang good line bonus, right? Where we see the leech effect or the heal effect to be huge. Now all of a sudden you can use somebody with leeches. That encourages you to be creative. If the line bonuses were actually significant and impactful, they wouldn't have to do this like arbitrary use crap character from crap thing to do this, and then by the time you're done with CSS, you're like so sick of Feud, you're like, why do I even want to play? So that's my big reason why I hate Feud. I'm using who Scopely tells me. They usually suck. I usually haven't built them. I usually don't want to play them, and I don't have hype for them now on top of it, right? So big part of the problem is you make everything less fun when you add in CSS. I would just assume they give me a claim button where I go claim my gosh dang points for every CSS I have, and then I have to use them in the event, you know? Anyway, that's my rant.
Actually, I don't mind the idea of CSS because it forces me to use cards that maybe I wouldn't have normally used. Um, so that doesn't necessarily bother me, but the line bonuses do. So I used to, um, I attempted to get off the ground a who to use for feud kind of series of videos. And I would go live, and I had a spreadsheet that Mr. Cubes and Rusty and I kind of worked on. Um, where I was going to go through and all of the eras and all the classes and find the best ones that could be used and then cross reference them with the line bonuses and the feud perks. And I realized quickly after doing this maybe twice that it didn't matter. I was going to run the same 6 cards that I always run and splash CSS in it, regardless of what the line bonuses were. The only one that mattered was the +1 Rainbow MP, or the top line if I ever had it. And everything else was just
Yep. So what?
not even that little extra. I'm searching for like an insignificant ad that
Yep.
is an ad, and in very rare situations will turn something from not turn one to turn one, but
Yep.
not something you really want to hang your hat on in the first place. And since you're so hesitant about whether or not you're going to hang your hat on in the first place, you're probably not even going to use the dang card. Uh, so I quit. I was like, there's no reason to do this.
No, there
I'm
isn't.
just going to use the same 6. And everybody else is going to use the same 6. So while I can zero in and be like, hey, by the way, if you need to use some modern era technician that gets plus 50% black gems in this lady's feud, you can use Tech Charlotte, and here's this really wonky stand on your way head to do it. You just don't. You just don't take advantage of it, and you just use whatever you want.
Yeah, it's and so my thing is like instead of telling me I have to use somebody, give me an incentive to use somebody different, right? Like so just for example, we have a ton of showdowns each month, right? And they're not usually kind of
Uh,
exciting.
yeah.
All right. So what if we did a showdown for a meaningful reward? What if we did wild card showdown where you can only use a card in showdown one time,
That gets spicy real quick.
right? Right? And the reward was wildcard hype, for example, just to fit the theme of wildcard showdown. But yeah, just for example, right? Like this is just an idea. Um, you could also have it to keep it more even, where you could, I don't know how I don't even know if they could code it, but where you set a defense and once your defense wins a defense, then you have to switch your defense. And you could queue it so it did it smart, right? But if your showdown wins a defense, you can't use that defense anymore in this particular showdown. And then your offense, you can only use each card once. Now, that might be more interesting, right? If it doesn't add extra time, you know what I mean? Or you could do the same sort of thing with feud. Maybe you can only use each character once in your feud lineup, right? But it would have to be worth the squeeze, has to be worth the juice. So I'm more interested in giving me stuff that doesn't just arbitrarily say use XYZ thing. You know what I mean? Give me something that I can work with, kind of play around with, mess with, and don't make things arbitrarily hard. And if you want hard content, the worst thing they do is when they put out hard content and then restrict it. Because if you're giving me hard content, let me effing attack it the way I think is best, right? Let me use my creativity. Let me use whatever I want to beat your hard content. I don't think hard content should be a punishment. I should think it should be an incentive. Does that make sense? And then I think the game's more fun in general.
Yeah. And I think actually you just inadvertently solved feud now that I'm thinking about it. Because the idea is great for showdown. All right, okay, hold on. Let's hold on. Where's my calculator? Let's theory craft. How many feud battles do you think you do in a typical 20-hour feud to max?
Oh, I usually don't bother maxing.
But if you were to max, how many brawls do you think it takes you?
Oh, probably have to play like 5-ish hours, 5 or 6 hours with promoters and all the stuff I have. And then if you figure hype, it's a little slower. Figure you can get an easy 4 or 5, probably 4 to 5 brawls an hour, maybe. probably like 30 to 40 brawls, I would think, right? Probably closer to 40. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't usually try to
We'll say
max.
we'll say we'll say 40, and we'll say you're running a lineup of 7.
That's pretty accurate, yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Feuds, you get 280 characters. That's it. 280 280 wins. If you lose, you can rerun that character. If you win, it gets taken out. All right. So if you run 40 brawls and max a feud, and there's 7 people in each one of those brawls, it's 280 characters you're using. Each W you get from one of those 280 takes them out of your pool. You can't ever use them again.
Something like that would be fun for sure, right? Like, or and maybe
Now,
to reduce the time, you don't need to get that many unique wins. Let's just you're talking like
yeah,
unique wins, right? Like, yeah, that would be super.
280 unique wins under in this format would be a max, would be 280 unique wins, and then you could do like 250 or 240, 230 unique wins get you to silver chest. Well, milestone before max, right? And then 180 wins is a milestone before max, 2 milestones before max. Obviously, you readjust it because this would be essentially a brand new game mode, but maybe you have to win with 125 unique characters on your roster in order to max the feud. Now you have incentive to build your roster, you have incentive to know your roster, you have incentive to figure out how all of these B tier and sort of great, kind of great, almost great cards, you have to figure out how to those run. You're going to go back and you're going to figure out how to make, I don't know, Showboat Alistair Black actually hit in a feud scenario. Your feud perks all of a sudden become really important, like really important. Especially your line bonuses get really important. It breathes new life into certain old cards like Acro Warrior, who is clunky and weird, but you can crank up the damage on now with, you know, the Rainbow X Break Blade and this, that, and the third.
You know what goes along with
Stuff
this?
like
Free plate removal,
what?
free metal swaps, free strap swaps.
You would have to, yeah, but
No, I mean, but
maybe
think
you
how
make it
much
a
more
weekend only thing.
think how much more fun you have though, like potentially. See, again, they restrict everything. The problem when you try and monetize everything, you end up restricting everything. And it's just not fun when everything is restricted. Like how much more like if you're still listening to this at this point, if you don't have the strap up pass, how difficult is it for you to want to put a plate on someone or move a plate around? Like for you guys listening, right? Like does it cause you stress? Does it cause you angst? Is the game less fun because of it? I would bet people are going to say yes, right? Like isn't I
I
just
have the strap up pass and it gives me anxiety.
right? I mean, but honestly, if you're this is just how I look at it. If I'm a game designer, I want people to play my game and experiment with it and have fun with it. And the more they mess with it, if you got everybody running plate removals and doing a bunch, like I bet they don't generate that much revenue, right? On strap up pass and stuff, I would bet, right? So I don't know, but maybe they do. But just think about it in a counterpoint. If you got people that are constantly trying new combos and plates all over the place, that's going to spread word of mouth how much the plates are. And guess what? Next time a plate comes up, people are going to be like, oh man, I want this plate for this guy to do this thing. And they're way more likely to chase it. You get buzz going, you get that kind of stuff happening. But right now, if you show a build slim and it takes 2 plates to run it and it hits super hard, what? 80-90% of the player base has to wait 2 or 3 months, just to maybe longer. What if they have 2 of those plates on someone else and the character they want to run it on has 2 plates? Now they're waiting 4 months to run the build you just showed, and by that time it's completely irrelevant. How does that make sense?
Oof. Oof. I never really quite conceptualized it that way, because I'm one of the few people that probably do. I do
I
get
wouldn't
the strap movie
uh-huh.
people.
I
If I
wouldn't play
only
this
had
game
one
without
plate
strap
swap,
pass. I literally wouldn't play this game without a strap pass. I would not play.
No, no, it's a bad experience. It's a really bad time, and I know that there are I personally know players in the game that are frozen to even put a plate on a card because they're afraid of making the wrong choice.
Yeah, and
And
then
it's going to take at least a month to fix the problem, not even put the plate on a better option, but just to fix the problem takes an entire month.
right,
And then you're another month in of actually putting it somewhere that's useful. You're right. That sucks. That's terrible.
and on top of that, think about this: if you happen to listen to this Scopely, how much does that decentivize people from buying plates because they can't use them?
How much
There
does it
are,
just disincentivize them from playing the game?
I mean, that too. It does both. So again, what do we have here? We have something being restrictive and making the game less fun, less enjoyable. When I is it's really simple. I talk to my wife about this all the time. What is one of the single most annoying things in a video game that you can have to deal with? And to me, it's inventory restrictions and having to always clean out your bank, manage your inventory. What do you save? What do you get rid of? Why is that a thing? Why, like, I mean, really, why is inventory management such a gosh dang thing in video games? Why should the creator of a game care if I want to hoard all of my crap in case I might need it someday? Like, I get it, it's probably a technical thing, like we only have so much storage, right? I actually know why it's a thing, right? Like Diablo, they coded it stupid, so everybody's stuff is loaded. So I know why it's a thing, but it shouldn't be a thing, right? I should be able to keep all of the crap I gosh dang want in my game. And you making me have to stress about deleting it or spend 5 hours managing my inventory pisses me off and takes away from the fun of the game, right? So it's just there's all these arbitrary restrictions, in my opinion, on games that make them less fun, and just and I think that's part of why people like open world games so much. They're not restrictive or they're less restrictive. So like every time you add these restrictions, you make the game less fun. You let people do less stuff they want to do. And shouldn't you want people to experiment with your game, to play with your game? I mean, people like if you want like a lot of games want time in the game, whatever that's called. I can't think of it right now, right? Like player engagement where you play X amount of hours in game, etc. Right? Like
Mm-hmm.
that's going to give you more time in game while people are experimenting the heck out of your stuff. But if it's restrictive, you can't. And just about everything in the game is gosh dang restrictive. It's annoying.
Yeah, the fact that you can't, there's no sandbox mode is still bonkers to me in this game. It just it doesn't make any sense, and it's too much FOMO is what it is. Um, it's so much, or let me, it's so much FOMO that it gets us into paralysis by analysis territory with moving straps around and leveling plates and leveling straps and or leveling the third part of the puzzle there, metals,
Mm-hmm.
and then not being able to level up a metal because you're out of stuff like that. Yeah, it is. It's dialing up FOMO so much that the only logical response is to do nothing.
And that's what happens to a lot of people. And it takes
Yeah,
a
yeah,
way
absolutely.
you're afraid to make a mistake. Like you said, if you know, if you get one really good plate, right? Let's say, all right, let's say you finally you get rainbow cross break plate, right? Crossfire, rainbow crossfire. It's actually probably my favorite plate in the game right now. There's at least 5 or 6 people I think are S tier with it. There's probably 10 that are A tier with it, right? Like there's just a ton of places you can use it. You finally get one. Where do you put it? And then if you put it there, now you're stuck. Now you can't use it anywhere else, right? Like now, like I get that you want us to buy more plates, but here's the thing, Scopely, humans are lazy. What's better than one
Hmm.
plate? 2 plates. What's better than two? 3. I never want to have to switch a setup ever. I'm always still gonna want that on prize walls, right? Like it. That's the thing. Like I don't want to move metals around. That's time. It's annoying. It's not fun. All these things get in the way of me having fun. So again, back to restrictions, restrictive. It's if you're on a spending account, it's a lot better now because I can move straps around at will, change metals around at will, and that's less restrictive, but it still takes time. I don't want to do that though. So I want more straps, more metals, more plates, so I never have to change a setup. So I can just go in and play and not spend a bunch of time doing lame, not fun stuff. Right? So yeah, I don't know. I mean, what do I know? I don't have a business degree. I'm sitting here in my house talking about a Candy Crush wrestling on the internet. So, you know.
I mean, Candy Crush did bring in $1 billion in revenue recently, so yearly. So, you know, maybe Candy Crush Wrestling isn't the worst thing in the world.
And yeah, I mean, I'll take a portion of that billion. I don't even need a big cut. Just a little cut.
All right, my man. Well, I tell you what,
We talked way too
I've
long.
about reached my timer. Um, yeah, it turns out this yeah. Um, yeah, it just never feels like 2 to 3 hours when we do this. This has been 3 hours. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, dude.
Yikes. What else are you supposed to do on Meaningless Monday, though? There's
Right?
nothing else to do. What did I miss? What did I miss in game? Okay, what do we got? We've got. Oh, I've got to refresh. I'm not
I
refreshing. I don't
recruited
care.
Zombie Ray on my free to play.
Hey, let's go. Zombie Ray's so cool.
I'm sorry, Zombie Penta.
I
I'm an
want
idiot.
that
I did it
gear.
again. Gosh dang it. All the time.
Oh,
I do like Zombie Ray though, and his gear is fun.
I Zombie Ray's gear is. So I told you, as I said, 17 hours ago, that my last like super chase card is Leo. Like that's my number one must get thing. Of things that are not cards in this game, Zombie Ray's gear is way at the top. I'm not sure if it's like the most desired thing for me in game, but it's in the top 5. I would rather have Zombie Ray's gear than an OG drip plate.
No, that's
Makes no
fair.
logical sense. It makes no sense from a gameplay standpoint. I'm going to use an OG drip plate a whole lot more than I'd use Zombie Ray, but I want Zombie Ray's gear. I want it, and they didn't give it to me this month, and I probably will not get it in spring, and I don't know when I'm going to get it, and it's going to make me mad for a long time.
I feel that way about punk gear because I have Zombie Ray gear. So I feel you.
I don't have Zombie Punk gear either.
No, I want that one bad. Yeah.
You don't need it.
No, I
You
don't.
don't need it.
I don't need anything in the game really
It's
anymore.
cool. I mean, that's true.
I mean, not much I really do need. It's more just about a really strong want. You know?
True. Yeah. I really want Zombie Ray's gear. I don't need it.
Right. Yeah, this is you know, we apparently, so just so you guys know, like I was like, what do you want to do today? He's like, I don't know. We maybe talk about the zombie month a little bit. I was like, okay. Now it's been 2.5 hours, 3 hours of whatever, and no end in sight unless we actually stop.
See, I told you we wouldn't have to come up with anything. Just something very, very milk toast to start us off, and we'd be fine. And I don't know where we caught our stride, but it was several hours ago.
Indeed. For the one person that's
All
still
right.
listening, we appreciate you. Also, there will be a link with Slim's channel in the description of this video. Go to his channel, like, subscribe, and put on like a couple playlists and just let them all run while you sleep and let all of them run and watch because runtime is huge for new creators. So go do that for Slim and you'll be doing me a solid. I would appreciate that. And so will he.
It really helps him out.
It does really help him out. Anything else you want to say before we go, Slim?
No. Um, huh. My total superstars owned is 616. That's cool. Um, no, I think I'm good. I think we touched on everything that we needed to touch on for Meaningless Monday. And I'm sure that the next 28 days will. Is it 28 days or is it going to be 35 days? Are we on a 5 week MLC or a 4 week?
I think it'll probably be a 4 week would be my guess, right? Because we're already on
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Yeah,
We're on a 5 week right now.
Yeah, I think it'll probably be 4 week, but the fifth week actually it could be 5 weeks because that would go into December 2nd, right? Want to know 1, 2, 3? No, yeah, we're on a 4 week. Yeah.
Okay. So in 28 days, I'm sure that the game and Scopely and the world will generate more than enough content for us to talk about again on the next Meaningless Monday.
Sounds great. Thanks for watching, guys. Remember to like, subscribe, and share because that really helps me out. It also really helps Slim out. And other than that, thanks for watching and good luck out there. And watch us next month for more Meaningless Mondays with the Slimmerex. It's like the Cimmerillion, but better. Slimmerex.
Ooh, Tolkien. Let's do it.
Yeet.
Bye, everybody.